Regular meeting of City Council with Committee of the Whole to order. The City of Dawson Creek acknowledges that we are privileged to live and work on Treaty 8 territory in the traditional home of the Cree, Danazé, Saulteaux, Sicanee, and Slavey First Nations. We value the Métis people that live and gather here. We commit to upholding the respectful relationships these nations have built with the land, and we acknowledge our responsibility to carry that forward today and into the future. Our first order of business is 2 delegations. 2.1, we have Jesse Drew, the Vice President of Community Relations and Institutional Strategy with Northern Lights College. Leanne Izu, Manager of Athletics and Community Engagement, Northern Lights College. And Engage Sport North. And Lindsay Bork, Executive Director of the Alumni Engagement, Northern Lights College, in attendance regarding Northern Lights College team update in 2024 fall rodeo request. It was a lot to get out first thing this morning. Welcome, ladies.
Good morning.
Great to see you.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
So I have to turn this on, I've been told. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Thank you. As Darcy said, I am Lindsay Bork. I'm the Executive Director for the Northern Lights College Foundation, and Leanne is our Manager of Athletics for Northern Lights College with Engage Sport North. So we are here today to share with you guys a little bit about our intercollegiate rodeo, kind of some back history from the last year, and just to kind of give you guys an update on how our team's been doing and what we've been up to. So this last fall, I say October, but it was September and October. End of September, beginning of October, we had our fall rodeo. And we had 7 teams come participate in that rodeo, which was a really great event. And it actually was our second BC Intercollegiate Rodeo for Northern Lights College. With that, the teams came from all across the province and Alberta, and Leanne's going to touch a little bit about what that looked like for us.
Again, we got rave reviews from the other college teams that came and competed at the Lakota Agriplex. We did 11 saddles this year, so every event there was a saddle champion out of the weekend. So it was great to see 4 of those saddles stayed in the north with NLC athletes. We took the team roping, steer wrestling, goat tying, and bareback riding. And so it's great. I love it when we have the athletes practicing and they're riding in their championship saddles. So it was really good.
Perfect.
We had 122 athletes compete. And again, they're from the 7 teams across Canada. So there's the Central Alberta team, the Lakeland team, Olds, Southern Alberta Intercollegiate, and the University of Saskatchewan. So it's great to have them all here and hosting them.
Perfect. And so with that, we sold 275 tickets to this event. That's not including our teams that came, all of our rodeo personnel and volunteers within the arena. So over the weekend, we had about 1,500 people coming in and out of the arena to watch the event, which was really amazing for us. A lot of our students came, a lot of community people, all of our donors and sponsors, which was really great for them to be able to see what Northern Lights College is doing in rodeo. We also do, with this event, just over $50,000 in sponsorship to help offset the costs for the college to put on a rodeo of this size. Leanne had mentioned, obviously, our saddles and our prizes are a really huge draw for those people coming in, which is always really nice to see because they're all excited. And being able to keep a lot of those at home was really great. With that, we also, thanks to the city, were able to do camping on the Lakota grounds, which was really great. Lots of people came with their trailers and their horses. And then we also had a ton of people stay in our hotels. So really the benefit for the community and the economic impact is actually quite diverse, which is really nice to see people taking part and using our community and getting to come here. So that was really great. So these next few slides are just some quotes. Once we wrapped up the event, one of the things we wanted to do was reach out and just see really how everyone felt about the event and what we were able to gain from it. So we have a couple here, and I know you guys have it in your package, so I won't read these out for you verbatim, but yeah, we got the Peace River Regional District. This was from Naomi from the Stables and Arena Association. And overall, the consensus, and this is from Mayor Darcy Dober, was that it was a great event for our community, and what the college was doing was really impactful. So that was really great to hear, and we were happy that that came from that.
So again, just to highlight some of the history, we've had the team has been a growing team. We started out with 5 athletes the first year, 1 Canadian champion. Through COVID, we managed to keep it going through youth sports, kind of growing and building and learning. We've grown now to this year, we had a team of 29. I guess I'm kind of jumping ahead, sorry.
That's okay. Good. I'll go.
29 athletes, 13 qualified for finals, and we had 2 Canadian champions out of that. So it's been amazing to watch the growth of the team. It's becoming a destination in Canada to come and be on the Northern Lights College Rodeo team, and the numbers are supporting that. We've also been able to we have kind of club and varsity level, and we have athletes that have volunteered at rodeo, or students that have volunteered at rodeo, and then like, hey, I want to try this out, and so they come help at practices. Through our coaching, we've managed to develop an athlete, and he went from not riding a horse to learning how to ride a horse, steer wrestle. He ended up 4th in Canada this year, going from like he was just heavy duty mechanics out of southern Alberta, looking for something to do outside of school. And we took him in on the team. And so it's not just athletes that are coming with these skills, but we've proven that our program, we can take anyone who's willing to learn and put the time in and make it inclusive. So it's been an exciting year on many levels that way.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think with that, this year we had 6 of our athletes graduate, so they became NLC alumni, which was a really great full circle. Every year we have obviously graduates that come out of this program, but obviously out of NLC, and so now leveraging them as alumni to come back and to help us has been really great. We have lots of athletes who graduate and then come back again for another program. So I think really the student success and the story, and like Leanne said, going from 5 to 29 athletes, I think one of the great things that we've learned is that our return on investment into this program and with our partnership with Engage Sport North has been really beneficial to NLC. Domestic students and enrollment has gone up, so that's always good for us. That's what we're looking for. As well, it's given us the opportunity to start to build out that agriculture side of programming within Northern Lights College. So moving forward, that's on our radar to be able to build that out, to use our NLC farm, and to be able to kind of just build out some of that programming that goes with this type of team that we're building, but as well as being able to offer it to the communities that we serve, because agriculture is a huge pillar for us. So I think really the overall success speaks to itself in this, but we wanted to share that with you guys too, because I think that it's important. Sometimes we don't always share all of our successes because we move to the next thing. But our team this year was really, really amazing. So with that, this was our team.
Yes, this was our team that we took to the Canadian College Finals. And we were super excited to be awarded the varsity team banner, which means we are the top Canadian College Rodeo team in Canada after our performance last season. Mm-hmm. So the varsity banner is awarded on the team that gets the most points throughout the season, which is September to April. And it's something our team has been striving to get, and we really focused on, if you're named to varsity, you're there to do your best, and the coaches really worked with who do they think was going to make the points that weekend. And once our team, we just picked up momentum and kept rolling with it, and it was super exciting every weekend to see what we could do and what they did, and then to receive the banner at finals was absolutely ecstatic. We had champagne out on the arena floor, sprayed the coaches. Yeah. It was a great moment, and we are proud to hang it in the college right now. Mm-hmm. So it was great.
It's definitely going to have a big home at the Northern Lights College. Todd is carrying it around, and Jesse taking it everywhere with them right now, which is really exciting for us. But that was just a huge testament to the growth of the program and where it's come from 2018 when it started. So to be a part of it and to have it in our community and have these students it's been really, really amazing. And they're also very excited. So that was really great. So these were some of our top finalists that they were champions, so I'll let Leanne speak to that.
Casey Thompson was strong throughout the entire season. He earned us a lot of points in varsity, being a bareback rider. He's an apprentice, and he managed to come away with the title at the Canadian Finals. And then in team roping, we also took the top average, and these guys were solid all through the 3 days of competition. So Riley Bondaroff was the header, Tyler Peterson the healer, they got the Canadian title. And then throughout the season, which was September to April, Brock Everett from Southern BC, he passed his millwright this year, and he managed to hang on to steer wrestling title. It was very heavy competition back and forth, and Tyler Peterson took the tie-down roping title, and his horse Izzy. Both of these young guys have pulled their pro cards. They competed in the spring pro rodeo here in Dawson Creek. So through the program, they've got their confidence up and willing to put their hat out there and do what they can do. And they represented the college really well. And again, another shout out to Riley Bondroff and Tyler Peterson. Throughout the whole year, they maintained a great strong average, and they were the top all-around cowboy and cowgirl in Canadian College Rodeo throughout the season. And at the finals, Tyler ended up being the reserve all-around champion for the 3 days of competition. So they are great ambassadors to the college and to their sport. So it's great to have them on the team. And then I guess the only other thing I forgot to mention was our upcoming rodeo, which is September 28th and 29th. And we will be starting that off. It will be the first rodeo of the Canadian College Rodeo season. And we'll be starting off with a new team of athletes. And we'll be bringing them in the last week of August to start meeting with coaches and training. So get a jump on things. And hopefully we'll look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, perfect. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for the presentation, and so many amazing things. It's hard to even comment on all of them. I mean, one, Northern Lights College is just a huge contributor to our community, and I'm really at the core of our community. So, and this just speaks volumes to that. So, you take an event that had 5 athletes in 2018 and turn it to, did you say 27?
29.
29, like
29 signed this year.
you know, like that in itself is the hugest win, right? But all those other spin-offs that you get from it, are just amazing. So really just, hats off to Northern Lights College and Engage Sports and all of you for making this successful. So I attended last year, and it was a pretty amazing event, and a lot of people. So just exciting. And then to see like these athletes excel, right? Like that have just started. It's pretty amazing for them, but for our community and region. So
it is.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
I will open up to council. Councillor MacDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to voice my congratulations as well. It is a phenomenal program. You have some phenomenal kids, and I fully agree with the mayor. The work that the NLC is doing in this community is just amazing, and thank you. My only question is how do we get to host finals?
It's actually currently gone out to bid, and we've been in Brooks, Alberta, the last 3 years, which is a huge drive for our team. And they will be moving to Rimbey, Alberta. So it is a very competitive bid, and they do favor a town that is not a host team, if that makes any sense, so that finals is kind of a neutral playing ground. So the Olds has had it, I believe, and Vermilion has had it, and we've looked at NLC hosting, because actually the whole CCRA, they love the Lakota. Like, the facility we have here is top-notch. So we've looked at that, and it's under there kind of thing, but I do respect the fact that they like to keep it in a neutral arena. And we'll see how Rimbey does, but after
So
that'll
we're being
be
hindered by how
updated.
good you guys are doing.
Maybe we need to knock it down a little. We do have quite a bit of hype, so
Nice.
we're definitely helping the comment is we help CCRA step their game up, and have the other colleges strive to be kind of where we bring it at. So
Wonderful.
So we're happy about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you to our delegation. It's, as my colleagues have suggested, incredibly impressive to see the growth of the program, and obviously excited for the continued potential. Last year, 122 athletes competed. Are you looking for more, better, the same this year?
I'm hoping for the same, and it was that last year was very similar to the first year. There was a little less rough stock participants, by about 6, so we were a little less than our first rodeo, but I'm anticipating this third one should be. It is challenging. It's like right at September as we start, sort of thing, the college year, but the drive they're ready to make the drive because the word is out. We have great stock. We have pro judges, pro announcers. So they want to come and compete. It's a really cool start because we bring the game right away, and we set the bar high right away. So
Okay. Are you guys as a college eligible for like NDIT grants for growing community?
Yeah, that's a great
Okay.
question. So we do have the NDIT marketing grant. We got a letter of support from the city to do that for this event. And so that we are eligible, not through the college necessarily, but through the foundation.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just wanted to. Cool.
Great.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow.
When you listed the colleges, right, I was surprised that we didn't have any from others from BC. I was expecting some, Williams Lake area college or the Kamloops area college. Is there any chance of them getting on board?
the Merit Group has looked at it.
Okay.
And True out of Kamloops, but the geographic is the reason why they say they haven't joined the Canadian College, because they have to travel via Jasper or via Golden to Alberta. So that's at this point.
Yeah.
But we get those athletes coming up here, right? So from Williams Lake, 100 Mile House, Kamloops area, they come up here, take a trade, rodeo for us.
Oh, I get you.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they do have that option.
Yeah.
And True is in works with looking at something through the US because they think they can just go straight shot south and do something with the Northwest region of the US national circuit. But that's just still in the works.
Yeah.
And again, their drive time would still be quite long through the Fraser Valley or Coke. So,
Yeah.
but for now, we're very welcoming to the southern part of the province to come up here. We have the Mile Zero Farmhouse. They get first priority in there, and their horses can stay comfortably there. So we've had a lot of great feedback from the athletes we've brought from the south, and that kind of continues forward. So.
And last year, we also had a student from Australia came over. We were supposed to have two of them, but one of them ended up actually coming, and he came just to come rodeo with our team, and then he took a program at the college, and he's gone home now, but he really enjoyed his time here and the experience, so that was really neat to see too.
Yeah, such an amazing part of it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was,
To
yeah.
expose the region to
Yeah.
others. So.
And as the first, I think, intercollegiate like BC for rodeo for our team, and to host the first intercollegiate rodeo in BC when we did that, I think it just really set that mark. So now I feel like people are starting to look at that and to explore other options or to join the Canadian College Rodeo Circuit, which will be really amazing because I feel like we've kind of set that. Obviously, we want them to come to NLC, so if they don't, that's okay too. Hopefully, they'll just come here, but it's really great to have that.
Yeah. If I just ask, one of the difficulties when I was superintendent, we helped get the high school rodeo going in Chetwynd, was insurance. How big a challenge has it been for you to get insurance coverage for this event?
Oh, I think that's a great question. I can speak to that. I think that's where our partnership with Engage Sport North comes in, and I think being able to leverage that partnership that we have together. It's obviously NLC hosts the rodeo, but with their connections and with what they're doing, we're able to do that quite easily, which is good. Obviously, the costs are definitely higher than a normal event per se, just because of the risk. But I think that's something we all like in our budgets, and we account for that just to be able to host that, as well as all the other rodeos that happen.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Apolonio.
Just saying, just thank you. Good to start a rainy day this morning. So it's a good news and nice to hear those feedback. And of course, you're not only inculcating education to the Northern Lights College, you're also inculcating sports, especially this kind of famous sport in Canada or in Dawson Creek. So how do you normally steer this committee? Who are the steering committee here in making up this sport? Like NLC or who else? Or what else? Who else committee? Like any sports Any sports?
Oh,
Yeah.
in like any other sport teams within the college
Yeah.
that we're running? Awesome, that's a great question. So athletics and recreation development at the college is actually one of our, within our strategic plan at the foundation and within the Northern Lights College to develop and to build that out for the students who are attending. Obviously, we span across the region, which I think is really important in all the communities we serve. So to that, on our rodeo team, not only are students from just coming here to Dawson, because this is where we practice at the Lakota and this is where we're based out of, but we have students coming from Chetwynd, coming from Fort St. John as well, depending on the programs that they're taking. So that's been really great. And then looking to develop other teams within our regions. So one of the things that we've done is we have an MOU with the Dawson Creek Kodiaks because they're already in our community. So we support them in their recruitment efforts. So that's one thing that we do. As well, we're looking to sign with the Fort St. John Huskies, hopefully this year, hopefully soon, to be able to offer that same opportunity. So we don't want to recreate what other people in our communities are already doing great at. We want to be able to support them, but use them as a tool as well to help support NLC. So I think really that community connection piece, which is a huge strategic pillar for us at Northern Lights College, is important. Another one we're looking at up in Fort St. John is speed skating. So that's definitely on the table. It's in the works. We're in the infancy stages of building that out and leveraging those people up there with that knowledge and that facility. So any of the communities that we work in and we're in, we want to make sure that we leverage what's there and the facilities that they already have.
Yeah, because imagining, I know this is a big sport. There's a lot of people working around it. So
Yes.
yeah, just kudos to everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Apolonio. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations again to the athletes, and then everybody that helped put this on. I mean, it's and just to Northern Lights College in general. We appreciate you a lot. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, and have a good day.
Yeah, you
Okay.
too. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Tab, is the clock working? All right, next on the agenda is 2.2. We have Johanna Martins, Executive Director of the Kiwanis Child Care Center, Bjorn Peterson, Northern Health, and Patty McDougall, Northern Lights College, in attendance regarding request to partner on proposed daycare center. So, welcome.
Hello.
You can just push that button on there, Joe, and then I'll turn that on.
There we go.
Welcome.
Welcome. So thank you for having us back here. I was here in January talking about some expansion of a lot behind KPAC. Well, since then, I have made lots of friends, and we have kind of expanded our idea for the community based kind of on what the community need is. So we are back today to do our presentation on expanding our childcare for the community, as well as the partnerships that we've made. One of them being with Northern Health, and unfortunately, Patty couldn't make it today with us, but again, working with the college on that. So, like I said, we have made some great partnerships since the last time we had talked about expanding childcare. One of the main partnerships that kind of has always been coming up had been this talk around Northern Health and the fact that we have a new hospital being built here. So after that conversation, we were introduced to Bjorn, and we started having a conversation of what that could look like for us to build out further childcare. The other one is, again, with Northern Lights College, because, again, just as we heard of the wonderful programs that they're running there, Northern Lights College does run the ECE program, which partners really well as well with us on that. And of course, the City of Dawson Creek, we are always wanting to partner with you on this major project, being that it's a big capital project we'd like to go forward with for the community. So when we were last year, we were talking about a small, well, at that time, I thought it was a big build for us, but extra 2 classrooms to our existing daycare. Since then, we've had, like I said, lots of conversation with the community, lots of conversation with Northern Health as to what could this project actually be if we put all of our minds together. And so the project really has grown into a facility that would facilitate 197 kids for our community. So that would add another 117 spaces to our community, along with the 80 kids or so that we have in our current care. So up at our new center, what we're imagining is having kind of 2 streams of our daycare, having one that runs for regular folks, which would run in our regular hours, the 7:30 to 5:30 hours, and then having another section that's very much dedicated to Northern Health, because one of the needs we've heard is that Northern Health needs the extended hours for childcare. So if we can offer them specific classrooms, that would be a win for us. So in the regular childcare side, we'd like to have 3 infant toddler classrooms there, 4 of the preschool age, that's the 3 to 5 range, 1 before and after school care program, and 1 multi-age room. And this is something that we don't have in the community right now. And so this is geared towards diverse needs, which is something that we're seeing more and more of in our center. So it would be nice to have a small classroom that's, geared towards diverse needs. One of the great things with Northern Lights College is you can, once you have your ECE certificate, you can go on to take infant and toddler training, but also diverse needs. So it would be something that we could have very much specialized people in. The other, like I said, aspect would be the Northern Health build, where we would work with them on whatever hours made sense to, with their hours that they run their shifts. We would kind of match what they have there. But we'd like to then offer Northern Health a 1 infant toddler room as well as a preschool room in there. So that gives them enough space, in there, we hope, to be able to fill the need that they have. The other awesome things we'd like to put in the facility, because again, if we're thinking about doing a brand new build, then let's think of it and do it as best to our ability that we can, is we'd really like to offer to the community a sensory room, which is again something that we don't have in other facilities. I'm not 100% certain if the CDC does, but definitely in the daycare setting we don't. But again, something that we've seen a lot of need for is just a space for kids to kind of calm down and come back down to their center. So a sensory room would be really great, as well as having an indoor gym, so that, of course, days like today when it's lovely and raining, the kids still have that indoor space that they can run and work off that energy. So the project really has grown to a larger facility than what I think would obviously fit onto the lot that I had originally proposed behind KPAC. So in my mind, what makes the most sense of where we could put this is at the old Grandview lot, which is kind of historic for us because this is where we came from as KPAC and the daycare. So putting it back up onto that lot, which it is still currently zoned for the appropriate zoning that we need, and it was an old school, so we know that there's enough outdoor space, there's enough land space to be able to put it up there. We also know that there's enough, there's a bus stop not too far away from there, so if people needed to get transportation up there, they can jump on the bus. Same with our kiddos, we can take them back downtown. So that was the lot that we would propose, that we really would like to put it back up in that area. It also moves our daycare out of the downtown, which is something that we have had conversations on before about our concerns of being downtown, so moving it back up into a nice residential. That lot is also quite large, that there could be potential other things that happen on that lot down the road. In the past, I've also mentioned about the opportunity for housing to be built alongside the daycare to allow affordable housing for ECEs, and then in this particular build could also afford to have some housing for Northern Health too in there for some of their support workers and people that work there. So there's a multitude of things that could be done and developed on there, but starting with the daycare I think makes great sense for us. So again, one of the partnerships that we really would like to work with is alongside Northern Health, because it makes sense with the new hospital build that we work with these folks. So I'll leave it to Bjorn.
Thank you very much. So just to introduce myself, Bjorn Peterson, Regional Manager of Housing and Childcare, a bit of a unicorn position, as I call it, within health authorities across the province. But it is a unicorn position because we have very unique needs here in northern British Columbia, and childcare and housing are 2 acute pinch points when it comes to recruitment and retention. And this stems from the Ministry of Health Human Resources Strategy, and there were 2 particular points, one being housing, one being childcare. I joined Northern Health a little over a year ago. Since then, we have expanded purpose-built childcare from Prince Rupert to Terrace to Chetwynd, Prince George, Fort St. John, and I would love Dawson Creek to be one of our partners in community. As been mentioned, having extended hours childcare is a need that has been identified by physicians, medical staff for supporting healthcare in community. These 2 rooms would provide us with a total of 32 spaces, 12 infant toddler spaces and 23 to 5-year-old spaces. It It would allow us to be able to really, I will say, sell Dawson Creek to healthcare workers as a destination to come to enter in with a young family and to build their futures here. I'm joined today by Deanna Thomas as well, the Health Services Administrator here, and she has heard many times from physicians and staff about the challenges around childcare. So I do hope that City Council would be behind this project as we collaborate with the Kiwanis Performing Arts Centre.
Perfect, thank you. So again, like I said, one of the other partnerships is working with Northern Lights College. So I had a great meeting here last week with them. And so what we're proposing to work alongside with them is because, of course, with the daycare, we also need a huge influx of staff and people to be able to work with us there. So we're proposing to be a teaching facility for Northern Lights College. And what that would look like is that we work alongside the ECE program at Northern Lights College, that we could be the center where at the end of their program, they need to send practicum students, they can send practicum students up to our center. In great conversation that I had with them last week, there's some other ideas of how we really make this partnership work, and adding things like an observatory room where students could come up to the center, be behind kind of a two-way mirror or one-way mirror. Kids are playing, doing their natural activities, having fun, but that could really be a huge benefit for them to be able to come in to watch kids to be able to do that. Potentially, we could also look at, with this build, adding an actual classroom for students to be learning on center as well. So again, it's something that has never been done in this area. I think Fort St. John did have a teaching facility for a short time, but does not have any more. So it would be a very unique thing again for our community, and such a benefit to be able to get students through the program, but also, keep people in the professional field. Of course, the other big partner we talked about is for you folks, for the City of Dawson Creek. This project can't happen without the support of the City of Dawson Creek. We have looked at different, options out there, and putting this daycare at the Grandview lot makes sense. And so what we're proposing for the city is a similar project to what we have down at KPAC, and mirroring the existing agreement that we have in that sense, where the city would maintain ownership of the land and the building and take on the maintenance of it. We would be the program operators and come in and operate the facility. This partnership would be a huge win for our community on all fronts, as we heard from Northern Health, through the college, and as well for our community. Right now, we're still at KPAC, even though we've opened up now our second infant toddler room, are sitting at still a 2-year-long wait list. So daycare is much needed. So again, some of the priorities that we would want to tailor these programs to are our diverse needs. That again is something that we are seeing more and more in the community, and something we would love to be able to offer back to the community is specialized care for kids there. Our partnership with Northern Health, I think, would be a beautiful partnership, especially with the upcoming builds and some of the concerns in the community around retention there, would be just phenomenal. So I think all in all, the project itself is makes sense to me. And again, so I talked a little bit around the staffing plan that we would have. So in this new center, we would be increasing our staffing up to 44 staff in the center, which is quite a huge number. It's doubling the amount of staff that we currently have. And so in order to maintain that number of staffing that we need, this is really where that plan with Northern Lights College has come in really helping us to facilitate that. So one of the things that the college looks at each year when they open up their ECE program is the amount of spaces that they can put practicum students into. So they do put a limit onto how many students they can take into the program based on where they can send them. So by us having a large center like this, they can open up that program to a lot more students, because they now have a place that they can send them to there. Our financial plan, right now, we do take advantage of a number of different grants currently through KPAC. One of the big things we receive each year is our gaming grant. Part of that goes towards, yes, KPAC, and the other big portion goes towards our daycare. We also are participating in all of the government grants that they have out at this moment. So that would be the Child Care Operating Grant, the BC Early Childhood Educator Wage Enhancement, which is great. That allows us to add $6 an hour on top of the base wage that we pay all of our ECEs. And then we also get the fee reduction. So we take advantage of this free reduction that parents now are paying a lesser fee for coming to daycare than they have in the past. And NDIT grants, we do take advantage of those when we have the opportunity to. Other things that we'd like to explore would be then, of course, if we made a partnership with Northern Health, then there would be some financial support along with that, along with Northern Lights College as well. So the benefits to the community, of course, is a huge impact to our community. We have a huge need for childcare. This has been a topic we've been talking about for a number of years. So this would add a huge solution. This would add 117 spaces to that community. So that is a huge amount of community members that could find care. It also helps, like I said, with the whole Northern Lights, Northern Health, the hospital build there, it would be a huge win for that. And as well, of course, we think for our whole community that this really would put us in the spotlight on a number of fronts where we would be looked at as a really cool opportunity, especially, like I said, through the college for people to come and work and learn at these facilities. Same with Northern Health and the retention. So at the end, we just are hoping that the city will want to expand and work with us again on moving forward with this project in putting the first step forward. The grant application for the new childcare spaces is currently open right now. However, the grant does close on August 2nd. So we do know that that's a super fast timeline. One of the things, though, that we have been hearing in the pipeline is that there potentially could be a new grant cycle being opening in the fall of this fall. So if we're willing to move forward on this project, there could be potential time between now and let's say October to get this all put together and put a grant application in, because of course we're proposing that we take advantage, of course, of the new spaces funding that the province is offering to do this build and move forward. If that's the case, hopefully, we could be on that sort of a timeline that potentially by next summer we could be looking at maybe doing preliminary groundbreaking or looking at that. Anything we missed you want to say?
I think, keeping with the hockey analogy, we're in overtime, so
Yeah.
I will say nothing else at this time. Thank you very much.
Yes, so thank
Not
you.
saying there's any hockey stuff going on at all.
Hockey, what?
Hockey, what? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Johanna and Bjorn, for coming in and presenting. And we obviously we hear it all the time, the shortages in childcare, and whether it's healthcare or all professionals or just really all residents in our community and region are facing these challenges. So I appreciate you both coming in, all three of you. And I'll open it up to council first here. So Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, good presentation. I have lots of questions, but I don't want to take too long about this. So just, can you paint a picture for me about the state of childcare here with this operational? What other childcare would there be? Is the school district still going to be providing childcare, and how many places do they have? And are there any other offerings through private practice?
So at this point, yes, the school district did get funding to put in a childcare at Tremblay, so they'll be working on that project. That will give them, and I don't know for certain how many spaces they have, but it's 3 to 5 spaces, I believe, some before and after school care. I'm not too certain if they have infant toddler, but again, that's one that is definitely being built. As far as in the private industry, we do have a early years or a child care table that we meet regularly at, and I think at the last one that our licensing officer had said is that there's only one maybe private daycare that is looking to open, but a number that are closing. So the private sector has been always kind of up and down depending on kind of the need and what people have there, but privately there's not a lot being open. So again, there's not a lot new on the new front being offered.
Okay. I question the location. I'm not against the location, but I'm just wondering why not have it proximate to the hospital and the college? There's lots of green space on that property. Have you considered its location on NLC land? It would facilitate training. It would facilitate hospital workers being readily able to pick up their children. So have you considered that, and what has been the results of that consideration?
You know what? That was the first thought I've had of it. You bringing it up is the first thought we've had of it, but you know, what a great idea. But you know, and honestly, I'm open to it being wherever it makes sense. Grandview lot is the one lot that we've looked at, but I mean, wherever it makes the most sense. So potentially, absolutely, it could be.
Well, I'm just throwing
Yeah.
that out, given what you've said. It wasn't something I'd thought about before.
No.
Your presentation spawned that question, so I'll just leave it at that. The last point, you know, you've played a major role in this, and I appreciate that very much. But this is going to be a pretty big deal here. So how is this going to be, governed, and then second, managed? It seems to me that it should have its own governance body. Is it going to be a society, a distinct society? I question it being continued under the umbrella of the Cultural Centre, because that has should focus on culture, development of culture. It should have its own board, perhaps, its own governance model, and separate management. I'd like to hear your reflections about that.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that internally of what that could look like. Potentially, of course, there's lots of, you know, the ways it can go. As a board, we have not been able to have a meeting on this yet to have that discussion as to what direction we would go. But yes, definitely, we know that there are options to go either way. So it hasn't really been decided as to which way it goes, but you're right, it does make sense. We're kind of moving in two separate ways. Of course, the other aspect is down at KPAC, if we move all of the daycare out of it, we have all of this vacant space down there, which is also something that is well needed for our community, is opening up that space for more artists, studio space and whatnot. So yes, I think again, as we develop and go through this, I think those are some of the really great questions that we need to answer of what makes the most sense for it.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow.
Can I just, I think,
Yeah.
I
Councillor
think
Parslow,
time
would you
is to do
push
that
your
now.
button? Oh.
I really think that needs to be considered, because if we're going to be torn apart, who are we dealing with, right? That needs to be articulated fairly soon.
And at this point,
that's
it's-
only in my opinion. Thank you.
And at this point, it's the everything falls under our Kiwanis Art Center Society and would be managed from there at this point. Yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Okay.
My question was answered in the course of the conversation.
Okay. Any other questions? No, I mean, I do have quite a few, but I mean, I don't know if it's, like now's, I've had a lot of dialogue with yourself, Johanna, and Kevin and myself have had a lot of conversations around childcare in the community. So I think there's a lot for us to digest and go through and figure out how this looks and works. I don't have any exact questions right now, and I'm sure there'll be more to come, but I've been down this road a little bit, so I understand quite a bit of it and how it works. And I know one thing too, Councillor Parslow, did you say on the college property, is that what you were talking about? Yeah. Yes. I'm pretty sure the funding works, it has to be city-owned property in order to get the grant. The other thought, well, you were giving your presentation, I was thinking the hospital lot as well. Like once, I mean, by the time this all takes place, it could be a year or two if that's a direction we go. But, you know, there's also where the old hospital is going to be as well, which is, you know, right beside the new hospital and the college. But so I just, you know, really want to thank you for coming in, and definitely your passion to drive this forward is appreciated. So we will definitely have some discussion about it and get back to you. And and I guess the ask really is just the partnership for the city that's the main ask.
Yeah, because you're right. To go forward with the grant application for the new spaces funding, it has to be kind of municipally led, where it is municipal land. It's the municipality putting the grant forward. And we are, like I said, are the operators of it, and we should definitely have partnerships and stuff, but it has to be led through the city in that. That's the number one thing that they like to see is that partnership with the city.
I guess one question is this has been done quite a bit in BC and other business models. So you're asking for a similar business model to what we have at the Kiwanis Performing Arts Center, where it's a percentage, a small percentage of all expenses. Is that what other regions and communities are doing, or have you looked at what other?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say from, again, my work here in the Northern Health region, as well as talking with colleagues across the provinces, it really spans the gamut. There's a huge amount of creativity which is going into the development of childcare spaces, looking at underused spaces, converting those into childcare, net new builds, et cetera. So I know I've personally partnered with now 3 school districts in using underused space in schools for before school, after school care. We were actually able to rescue literally some infant, toddler, and 3 to 5 spaces in McBride last week in school to ensure their sustainability. So there has been many different tacks taken on this. Definitely a collaboration with as many interested parties as possible is looked at very favorably by the province when it comes to grant applications. And, Dawson Creek essentially future-proofing itself against other changes that could happen. There has been, unfortunately, a steady erosion in licensed at-home childcare centers. Most communities, when I pull the data, are losing one about 18 months to every 2 years. So there is a steady erosion of those. Here in Dawson Creek, if I remember correctly, we only have around 7 or 8 licensed at-home childcare spaces remaining. And they are slowly receding, but it wouldn't surprise me at all to see another 1 or 2 be lost here in community in the next 2 to 3 years. So we've got supply and demand issues across the board.
Yeah, I've met with a few of the in-home ones, and it's just the pressures they face make it difficult, right? And it's the costs to lease or move somewhere is just too significant. So, yeah, and the other thing I asked about the business model stuff too is I think that's one thing we have to look at is what the does our community need this? Absolutely, we do, but it's the operational costs moving forward on building that size. We have to look at what does that mean for our tax increases and revenue and justify that. So that's why I was just curious of what the other business models were and if there was, some that weren't as weighted heavily on operational expenses going back to the municipalities. But yeah, just the question. So, Councillor Parslow.
So what are your timelines? For this?
Well, I mean, it would be nice for us to be able to get the grant application in if there's a fall intake. However, if there's not a fall intake, then the next usually is after January. So in the new year, there would be an intake. So it's as soon as we can get the grant application in. I know the one, like I said, that's open now, the August 2nd, is a really tight timeline because of some of the criteria that they require in the grant. But ideally, yes, if we could get a fall application in to be able to looking at, breaking some ground next year so that we have childcare open in the next 2 years would be ideal.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. All right, if there's no more questions, thank you again for coming in and taking the time and for the presentation. And yeah, we appreciate it.
Great.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet. Have a great day.
And Miss Patty now. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. All right, our next order of business is 2.3. We have Bryce Wiskull, Area Director of Young Life Dawson Creek, in attendance regarding an update to council and request for funding. So, welcome, Bryce. Just have a seat there, and you just got to push the button on the mic, Bryce, and then, yeah, there you go. Welcome. The floor is all yours. So.
Awesome. So thank you for having me here today. My name is Bryce Wiskull. I'm with Young Life Dawson Creek. Today I wanted to bring a little awareness about Young Life and that we are in the community, that we are facing some struggles since the pandemic and coming out of it. But I wanted to start with a few stories and just let you know the kind of work that we're doing in the community. So what we do here in Dawson Creek is we build relationships with teenagers. We earn that right to be heard, to offer a life-on-life mentorship. And to do that, we just walk alongside teenagers. We encourage them in life. We give them opportunity to be heard, to be seen, to be of value to the community and those around them. It's as simple as a day-to-day approach. I mean, we've got multiple leaders that work on our leadership team that are all volunteers, and we take kids alongside of us. So when we go shopping, my wife and I, we occasionally try to get out for a date and a date night, and we have teenagers that'll call us up that want to connect or want to do something with us. And there have been multiple times where we've taken teenagers out fishing with us just as part of our night. And so it's Young Life. What I guess I'm trying to share is that Young Life is taking teenagers alongside of you, showing them life, encouraging them in life, and just simply being there for them. We've been here since 1991, working alongside of the ARC. We work in the schools. We build relationships with the teenagers there. We don't stop after school, though. So we do specifically work with grade 6 to grade 12. But after school, I've started a program in my own term with Young Life, and that is where I bring my Young Life alumni teens that have since graduated, and they come alongside because they know the value of Young Life. They've been encouraged by Young Life. They've seen it throughout their teenage years. And so they're encouraged by that to stand up and to encourage other kids. And so we bring them alongside of us. We encourage them every day. And those alumni teens are helping out with Young Life, encouraging other teenagers just like they were encouraged. And so I like to refer to it as a Young Lifer program. So once you become a teenager in Young Life, you're part of it. We want you to be a part of that family where you're not just welcome to Young Life, you actually feel like you belong to Young Life. Young Life has been around since 1954 in Canada. It's primarily in BC, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and I believe a few other provinces. But it's all about connecting with teenagers from grade 6 to grade 12 and encouraging them in life. We are one of the last and few programs that are here in Dawson Creek that are absolutely free. We don't charge any money for kids to come out with us. And so I guess when I'm mentioning what we do with kids, I guess I'm not telling you that we get together with them every week. We do what's called a club. And during club, we have a party where we have fun with teenagers. We play games, we play mixers, we bring them out of their shell. We encourage them to stand up in front of people and talk, to be public speakers, to have kids go outside that comfort zone and just experience life a little bit more than what they would have done sitting behind a screen. And that's actually one of the things that one of my teenagers recently mentioned to me is that with Young Life over the last year, he would have never gotten out of his house. He would have sat behind a computer screen. He would have enjoyed playing one of the many video games that he plays or doing one of the many things that he does inside. It just doesn't get him out. And so one of the things that he raves about to all his friends and shares is that this is a way for me to get outside of my house. This is a way for me to get out and do things that aren't going to cost me money. And the great thing about our community is we have multiple things that, like disc golf. Disc golf is a great way to connect with teenagers. It's a great way to connect with anybody in our community because you're literally walking alongside of them the entire time. You have nothing but open space around you to chat the entire time. And so it's things like that. It's things like the Dawson Creek Spring Park and plays that you get together with kids and just take them alongside of you and do the things that you do on a normal basis. But getting back to club, with club, we want to encourage kids to be kids. Around town, around life, in our homes, at school, everywhere we are constantly reminded and encouraged to grow up a lot faster than we should be. And these kids need to be kids. They need to experience life. They need to get outside. They need to be encouraged. They need to be pushed a little bit, but they also need to be supported along that way. And so those are some of the opportunities that we try and give them as life-on-life mentorship. Going back to the free program, we get together with kids on a weekly basis where on Wednesdays we call it Wildlife Wednesdays, and it's kids get together at 7:02 p.m. until 9 p.m. and we have fun. And then throughout the rest of the week, we get together for regular hangouts where we'll go to the swimming pool, we'll go bowling, we'll go play disc golf. But again, pardon me? Oh, and YL Grinds, yes. So another program we recently started is YL Grinds. So we want to try and promote a healthier lifestyle for kids. And I'm a bigger guy. I was a little lazy when I was younger. And if we don't instill those things now, then we're going to miss those opportunities. And they're going to be like me when they get older and they walk into a gym and be super self-conscious, super concerned about what everybody else is thinking or saying about them. And so what I wanted to do is I want to encourage kids. And I have a kid that comes to Young Life that is a little overweight, and he couldn't ride the zip line at our camp that we go to. And so he came up to me and he said, you know, I need to lose some weight. I want to go on that zip line. Can you help me? And so I was like, absolutely. Well, we'll get together and we'll go to the gym together. So it was just him and I that were going to the gym at first. And then I had another kid that overheard me, and he goes, well, I'm not overweight, but I've got no muscles. And, you know, I'd like to put on some weight so I can look better in front of my friends or at school. And I was like, well, all right, we can do that. Next thing you know, we show up at the gym for the next night, and there's a lineup of kids outside the gym coming in with their parents because they have to sign up. And it was reassuring. And so we started this program called YL Grinds, where we get together on Tuesdays and Fridays of every week to hit the gym together and encourage one another and help one another stay accountable. And if we can help the teenagers get encouraged, then like myself, they can also encourage me. So yeah, we've got a variety of programs that we start, and the whole idea is just to be where the kids are, to go where they are, to earn that trust, to be seen, to be visible. So if there's a youth event, we're often at hockey games, we're often at, figure skating sometimes, but we're at sporting events, basketball, baseball, volleyball. We've got multiple leaders that hang out at the schools with teenagers. We're often those adults that stick out like a sore thumb in the school that look out of place, especially with the big red beard. And but we're there for the kids, and we're there to just simply encourage them and love them. And yeah, and I think that's. I guess, there is a little bit more that I want to mention. One of the reasons I wanted to come here was to simply bring awareness, but also to mention that we are in a deficit right now. We come to our end of our fiscal year, September 30th, and right now we're facing a $20,000 deficit. I am encouraged by our community. They've always stood up and they've always helped us in tremendous ways throughout the years. Again, we've been here since 1991, but I've never, as far as I'm aware, ever come to the city and asked for support, but also given opportunity to share about Young Life. And we've been doing this awesome youth group with the mayor and with other key people of the community that are involved in the youth, and it's been super encouraging to see that Dawson Creek is taking this step forward, and the involvement that we've had recently. I thought it would be great to come sit in front of such a platform and be able to share a little bit about where Young Life is, where we are since the pandemic, and how we're still struggling to get out, but we are getting there. And since the pandemic, we had 0 committee members, we had 0 staff people, 0 teenagers coming out. We were zilch. And after the pandemic, we started up again, and we have over 30 to 40 kids coming out every week to Young Life. We have multiple supporters, but not enough. We only have 21 currently supporting us on a monthly basis, and we call those pre-authorized monthly donors. And we're always looking for more monthly donors. Pardon me? We rely on donations, yeah. So we're 100% funded by local community, and so we rely on the community to support us. We are a free program to the community for the kids. The parents are always blown away when they come to Young Life on a Wednesday night. And it's like, all right, well, where do we got to sign up? How much is it? And, my kids love coming, so what's the next steps? The next step is just showing up next Wednesday. Just belong. There's no, hey, you got to call us and let us know ahead of time that you're coming. It's just show up. We're going to text you. We're going to reach out to you. We're going to follow up with you. But we want those opportunities to build relationships with kids. And to do that, we need to be funded to do it. And we are a local mission service here in Dawson Creek. So any support that we can get is always greatly appreciated.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming in, but thank you for what you do to help youth in our community. And I've always known of Young Life growing up, but I didn't really know much about it. And since being in this role, like having the round table that you've participated in, it's been amazing to have you there. But it's also just that education piece for myself, and then being at a couple of the Young Life events, it's just amazing to see the youth. And how much like opportunity and hope it gives them, right? Like it really is. It's absolutely amazing. So, yeah. So thank you for coming in. I will open it up to council for questions here. Councillor Parslow.
I'm familiar with Camp Malibu. Is that still operational?
Yes, it's actually just the United States that uses Camp Malibu now. We
Okay.
actually use Rockridge, which was built in 2006.
Okay.
And it's just as pretty as Malibu. But I've never been, so I can't really say.
Whereabouts is that located?
Princeton, BC.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's about 12-hour drive from here, and we actually in 3 weeks are taking our first group of kids there.
Good. I was a high school principal once, and your organization was very involved in my school, and I really appreciate the philosophy and the delivery of support to kids that I experienced many years ago when I was a high school principal. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other questions? Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Worship, and thank you for the presentation. Similarly, I was aware of Young Life, but maybe not all of the details you've imparted here. Is your organization eligible for grants? Okay, so you are able to, like BC Gaming, stuff like that?
Yeah, so we've
Okay.
applied for multiple grants that we're currently waiting for. We do have a couple of grants that we have been approved on already, and we do get grant support.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, with respect to the financial piece, like I said, I think there's a lot of awareness around the brand, but maybe not with respect to the details of what you guys do. Have you been out to, and I mean, it's great that you came to us and shared with us and the dozen or so people that watch these things on Facebook. What's going on? Have you been out to, local Rotary, stuff like that? Because they're
Yeah.
always looking for, okay, good.
So I just wrote another follow-up email to the Rotary asking for support. We are reaching out to various companies around Dawson Creek asking for support as well. I won't deny, I am faithful that, the support would come in before September. But on this platform, I wanted to have that opportunity to also share the awareness that we needed that support.
Yeah, certainly. And once again, I do appreciate it's always nice to get a firsthand, from people who are out in the community doing good work. It certainly inspires us in the work we do. I think that's the only question I have for now, other than to say thank you for your work and the presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Apolonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. Hi, Bryce.
Hi.
I know Bryce. Wonderful Christmas season, aspiring Santa Claus. So yeah. So thank you very much for doing your good work here in the community. And I heard about Young Life, but of course I have not really total information about Young Life. Do you have like physical address, for example, that could come into, for example, or?
Yeah, so right now we've got the First Baptist Church is donating us some office space. I'm hoping to get more centralized with our location, but it's actually just being donated to us. A lot of our areas that we use, so even where we do club, which is above the Beans and Barley at the TLCC, which is the
Living Contemplative Center.
living room contemplative
Center.
yeah, contemplative center, and they've also graciously given that us to use.
Yeah, because as I said, if you have like actually, I know Yangi, but of course, I don't see like the physical address. Of course, a youth, for example, coming into your office or to your room, at least they're more accessible. I don't know if this better question, like, are you qualified to tie up like MCFD, like the Ministry of Child and Youth?
No.
Okay. Yeah, just asking because, of course, for make your financial more okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Apolonio. When you, like, coming out of COVID, so you had a couple of years where you couldn't have any youth. So is that before COVID? Did you had more than 21 donors? Like you guys,
Oh,
Young
yeah,
Life
so-
was in a good financial spot then.
Prior to COVID, we were very well financed. It would actually, I don't think we hit a deficit for quite a while. We had a lot of donors. I believe it was plus 50. It has gone down a little bit. We've had to rebuild that donor list. When I came on in 2021, I believe there was 6 or 7 donors. It got pretty low. And coming out of it, we are getting donors, but we're getting smaller donors, and that's super helpful. But we need more smaller donors to make it helpful. And we do great with large one-time donations as well from companies around town. But it's the monthly pre-authorized donations that really make the difference. I'm sure as many of you know, it's knowing what's in the bank or what's to come is extremely helpful with a ministry that's dependent on being funded through the community.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's, it makes sense. There's so much pressures that, everybody faces today, right? Like, it's just harder to do that. So is there like an info package that you can send out, or
Absolutely.
something that we could even share, like where that?
So I can provide some more information, but I do have a few of these pamphlets that I can pass out that I
Okay.
brought with me. We also have a local website which kind of shares everything that we do, yldawsoncreek.ca. I wanted to prepare a video for you guys, which I love doing. I take great pride in projection screens. But it was such short notice, and I didn't want to put you guys off your schedule any, but I would love to come back maybe in the fall or something like that and give a mind-blowing presentation.
Yeah, I think we'd be honored to have you come back. So
I would
it's
appreciate that opportunity.
great to open this door and have you come in, and like we spoke last week, it's just nice to, whether there like is some help or what we can do. We'll talk about that later under mayor's updates, but it's more just like getting that awareness out, right, and the knowledge to us that are here and those that are listening. So
Yeah, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah. Perfect. Well, if there's no other questions, just thank you very much for coming in. And like I said, so I know that there is an ask, Bryce. So later on in mayor's updates, the process is we'll address that then, and then we'll go through it, and council will decide what we can do or can't do, and then we'll let you know. So
I'm just honored to be here, be able to talk, be able to share about Young Life. So thank you.
perfect. Thank you very much for what you do.
Awesome.
So perfect. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to call a break as well.
Up there.
Regular meeting of council with committee of the whole for Monday, June 24th, back to order. Next order of business was 3 strategic priorities. Was there any comments or questions around our strategic priorities? Anything from you, Kevin? No.
So through your worship, just, we will be providing an update for the next quarter at the next meeting. So
Okay.
that'll be coming.
Perfect, thank you. Next late items, any late items? 5, new councillor business. 5.1, we have memo from Councillor Apolonio regarding the flag policy amendment. Go ahead, Councillor Apolonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. Of course, first of all, I would like to thank Ms. Janice and, of course, Tab, and, of course, Ashton for helping me to compose this memo. And, of course, again, thank you very much in behalf of the Kalipi Filipino Canadian community for the respect and honor that you gave us last council meeting. The committee was very happy. Thank you very much again. And about this memo, the background information, in June each year, the Kalipi Southeast Filipino Canadian Association and the Filipino community of Dawson Creek celebrate Filipino Heritage Month. June 12 is particularly significant as the Filipino community observes and celebrates Philippine Independence Day. Traditionally, the Philippine flag has been raised and flown on that date on the community flag at City Hall. Section 3.B of the City of Dawson Creek Flag Policy states follow. B. The following list of annual flags that are approved by the council to fly on the community flagpole of either City Hall or at Peace Park. Okay, 1. Multiple sclerosis, Norwegian flag, Philippine flag, Metis flag, rainbow flag. At the regular meeting of council held on June 10, 2024, council passed the following recommendation. Moved and seconded and carried that Council waive Section 3B of the flag policy, which state that Philippine flag for Philippine Independence Day will be on June 12, allowing the flag to be flown on June 10th. Therefore, to streamline the process and avoid the need for a similar motion at the first Council meeting each June, I'm requesting that Council consider directing staff to amend Section 3.b of the City of Dawson Creek's flag policy. The proposed amendment would allow the Philippine flag to be raised and flown on the date of the first Council meeting each June. Proposed motion, the staff be directed to draft a report to Council to amend Section 3.b.3 of the City of Dawson Creek's flag policy to allow the Philippine flag to be flown on the date of the first Council meeting each June. Respectfully,
Thanks, Councillor. Sorry, that was the motion. Sorry, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Apolonio. Do I got a second? Councillor Parslow? Sorry for cutting you off. That was the motions. All right, any discussion? No? All right, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Thank you, Councillor Apolonio. Next, 5.2, we have a memo from Councillor MacDonald regarding NCLGA board meeting.
Thank you, Worship. I won't bore everybody by reading the memo I sent in, but just a couple of highlights. Attended my very first NCLGA board meeting as a board member. Was great to just get into that room and build the relationships and collaborate with everyone there. The one highlight I will make, though, that I was elected chair of Indigenous Relations for NCLGA, which I was very happy to accept. Feeling that it fell right in line with our strategic priorities, and it would give me the opportunity to further our strategic priority of Indigenous relations while doing it for NCLG as well. So it was really good. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for the report and congratulations too, by the way. It's
Thank you.
The city and area will be well represented with you on there. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Any other new councillor business? All right, next order of business is 6, adoption of minutes. 6.1, we have minutes of regular meeting of council held on June 10th, 2024 for adoption. Councillor Kemp, second Councillor MacDonald. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Any business arising? All right, next, 8, correspondence. 8.1, we have a letter from Dallas Rorison, resident of Dawson Creek, received on June 7th, 2024 regarding a distracted driving hazard at South Peace Senior Secondary School Crosswalk. Councillor MacDonald?
I'd like to move that we just receive that for information, please.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Do I have a second? Councillor Sudnick? Thank you. I will call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Kevin, was there any?
So through your worship, you just for your information, we had looked at a couple of things due to the question. So I think when this had come up, when the letter came in, there was a few questions around, is there any data, any crash information, anything like that? Because we do receive crash data from ICBC annually. So we look back at that. There is no incidents at that area. Any incidents that occur in that general area actually are all in the parking lot of South Peace School. And in fact, the incidents have declined since the Pride Crosswalk has been installed. Secondly, and probably more importantly, is the when these crosswalks started appearing across the country, the Transportation Association of Canada actually did a study on them because they're the ones that are responsible for establishing guidelines, best practices for road markings, sign install, all the things to do with transportation. So they took a look at it because they wanted to ensure that, there were no issues. And in fact, they found that there is no, no statistical difference in the crosswalks and the differences in between a standard crosswalk and a Pride crosswalk. And in fact, they found that people are actually more drivers are actually more aware of the difference in crosswalks from the standard ones. So from all that, from a staff perspective, we certainly don't see any issue there. It's been covered off by the National Transportation Board that's looked at it. So just for your information.
Perfect. Thank you, Kevin. All right, next order of business, 8.2, we have a letter from Alisha Guild, Secretary, Dawson Creek Seals Swim Club, received on June 11th, 2024, regarding the request for funding. Councillor Parslow.
I'd like to move that we give them a grant of $500 to support the cost of prizes.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Do I have a second? Councillor Kemp, any discussion? Councillor Earl? Oh, Councillor Earl, I'll try that.
Thank you, Your Worship. And just, I don't know if staff has this information on hand, but through you to staff, is this the first time we've received a request for support of this particular event from the Seal Swim Club? I try to jog my memory, and I don't recall.
So through your worship, they traditionally ask for permission to camp there.
Yeah.
They ask for, usually garbage cans or, those sorts of things. But I think from my recollection, might be the first time they've asked for financial support.
Okay. And just, I don't want to need an exact number, but it is within what we have remaining in the grants budget. Certainly, I think so.
Yes, let's just see what the running total is. So through your worship, currently have 6,500 remaining.
Excellent, thank you. I'm in support of this. I know the Seal Swim Club does a phenomenal job in town. They're one of the, those foundational organizations that's been operating for years, and they take a great deal of pride in the work they do and what they contribute. So I'm happy to help with that.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? No, Councillor MacDonald?
I know this year we voted in a cost for camping down in and around the event center. Does that $500 cover the cost of the camping permit?
So through your worship, I believe that's what we had established for the fees in there, and that was done to try and ensure that we were competitive with the local campgrounds that were in the area. So yeah, but the 500 should cover that.
So Councillor Parslow's motion there was to give them towards prizing, etc. It won't actually cover prizing, etc. It'll just cover the actual new camping fees. If we want to give them actual money for prizing, etc., we would have to do the full $1,000. Just for a point there, right? Unless we can waive their camping fee cost as well.
So through your worship, the camping fee is in the fees and charges bylaw, and we can't waive a bylaw.
We can't waive.
So the only way to do that is via a grant.
The full.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will vote against this because I'd rather us give the full $1,000 to the Seals. I agree they are an amazing club. I don't think the camping permit fee was necessarily aimed at them specifically as a very healthy youth organization in our community, and I'd like to see us give them the full $1,000.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. I'm sorry, I was just reading through everything. Did they talk about the camping fee in the letter?
Paragraph.
Is it? That's where I was. Yeah, okay. Any other discussion? No? All right, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. There was 2 opposed, Councillor Kempf and Councillor MacDonald. All right, next order of business, 8.3. We have a letter from 2024 Seniors Golf Tournament Committee received on June 12th, 2024 regarding a request for prize donation. Is this, oh, Councillor MacDonald?
I'd like to make a motion. We receive this one for information.
Do I have a second? Councillor Parslow. Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Any discussion on receiving this for information? I guess one question, just to staff, do we, like when there's requests for these events, I know we've talked about this before, but some come in, some come to council, some we will donate city items to, like is this one, I don't think this one's come before, but.
Right. So through your worship, certainly we have the ability through ECDEV and those areas, through your budget to, the swag department want to give a prize or something, you can certainly do that. That's an option as well. But, they've come to council and council's made their decision.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? I will call this. Oh, did you have Councillor MacDonald? No, you're done. Oh.
Sorry, I was just going to say this one is extremely generic. It's just a print off that they sent everyone, right? So for me, that's not a true request of council of the city.
It is made out to mayor and council.
Okay, I read it as a very generic one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. All right. I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 8.4, we have email from Jackie Bassett, Executive Assistant, City of Prince George, received on June 14th, 2024, regarding letter to Ministry of Municipal Affairs. I guess, Kevin, I don't know, I did read through this, but do you see similar concerns?
Yes. So through your worship, Melissa's got a bit of a background on that. She's looked into it, so she could probably provide a bit of information for council.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Go ahead, Melissa.
So through your worship, so prior to this proposed regulation, there was no legislated requirement for collectors or the city of Dawson Creek to provide registered property owners with a formal advance notice of that their properties would be offered in the tax sale. So although there's not the formal requirement, it's always our goal not to have a tax sale each year. So we're always reaching out to property owners. We're doing our best to let people know what they owe. But now what this legislation is requiring is that 60 days prior to the tax sale, which occurs at the end of September. So by the end of July, we would need to send registered letters, which for your information is $10.67 per registered owner and charge holder. So that could be going to anyone that has a mortgage or a lien on the property. We have properties that have multiple charge holders listed. Not only that, but we need to allow opportunity that if we can't prove that they're picking up their registered letter, we need to provide an opportunity for what's called a substitute service. And so that's when we have to involve a lawyer, which involves us proving that we've done our due diligence to try to contact these individuals. So because we need to do it 60 days out, and then we also need to provide opportunity for the substitute service, which can take time to go through the courts as well, we pretty much would need to start this process as soon as tax notices are sent in May, which timing-wise, a lot of people haven't paid their bills because they're not even due. Normally, we'd be sending these letters in July, but now we need to have to bump that back to allow the opportunity for substitute service. The cost of substitute service as well, we've had to do it twice in the past, and it's more related to our advanced or our requirements after the tax sale. But the cost of those, one time was over $6,000 and the other time was over $8,000. So what's also happened is that we were notifying property owners about this proposed legislation ahead of time this year because we always contact people and we didn't know. Then May 28th is when they decided that they were going to have a 1-year delay that would permit ministry staff to correct issues with the legislation that has been identified by municipal staff. With that, though, they have said that they're going to consider the identified concerns, but find ways to address them while ensuring that the recommendations from the Ombudsman report are met. And I should have, explained at the beginning that this legislation really did arise from a case in 2017 that went to the Ombudsman when somebody's property was sold in the tax sale and they claimed that a process wasn't followed. And so that's why this legislation is coming out. So they're going to grant the 1-year delay, but also they are recognizing that they do need to address the recommendations from the Ombudsman report. But this is going to cause significant costs increase related to the registered mail, potentially as well. The need to do substitute service, and the time as well is very tight to even get that done before the 60 days for tax sale.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to staff, these additional costs that are going to be incurred, are they something that we can recoup through the tax sale, or is it something that we're going to have to eat as part of just the cost of doing business to recoup taxes?
So through your worship to Councillor Earl, we can only recoup costs if the property is actually sold in the tax sale. So if it's, we often have people that do come and they'll pay right before the advertisement goes out. And then as well, we're limited to the cost that we can recoup. And I apologize, I think it's very minimal. It's a % or I'd be able to get that.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
wouldn't
so
be able
not
to
not
recoup.
fully then.
No.
Okay. And then as you mentioned, the timeline basically makes it not impossible, but it's counterproductive in the sense that you're sending out notices for auction on houses that aren't actually overdue or taxes that aren't actually overdue to the extent where they would warrant auction. So you're in all likelihood going to have to send out many more notices than you otherwise would for those that are actually up for auction, thereby increasing the workload and cost. And as you said, I was familiar with the dramatic instance you're referring to where a vulnerable senior had their house auctioned off for, I think, $10,000. And certain, it wasn't handled appropriately in that one instance. And now it looks like a blanket approach has been taken in order to address it. So I'm personally okay with making a motion to send a letter similar to the one by Prince George. And certainly, I don't know, do we have I guess we've already sent off our list for UBCM with respect to what subjects we're going to cover, but it would be obviously worth making mention of there as well, because I'm sure many of our colleagues throughout the province are going to have similar concerns.
Are you making that motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we, City of Dawson Creek, direct staff to send a letter expressing the concerns Melissa has laid out here with respect to the legislation pending.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Do I have a second? Councillor MacDonald, any discussion on that? No? All right, I'll call that motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. All right, next order of business 8.5. We have a letter from Scott Clerk, Associate Vice President, Educational Services, Northern Lights College, received on June 17th, 2024, regarding a request for a letter of support, rural community immigration pilot. Councillor Parslow.
I move that we develop and submit a letter of support in having this rural community immigration pilot program here in the Northeast.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. I have a second. Councillor MacDonald, any discussion?
Just a comment, if I may, that the immigrants play a vital role in the well-being of our community, and to streamline applications would be very helpful, I think, to them and to the community.
Yeah, and this has been a pretty, we had Councillor MacDonald and myself talked to Scott last week at the leaders table, and this is a pilot program that's been very successful in all the regions that it's been around. So, all right, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, I will call that motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9 reports. We have 9.1. We have report number 24-071 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding policy amendment delegations to meetings, community relations, proclamation, fire and emergency service level. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 24-071 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding policy amendments, delegations to meetings, community relations, proclamation, fire and emergency services level be received. Further, that Council adopt the amended delegation to meetings, community relations policy, the amended proclamations policy, and the amended fire and emergency services level of service policy as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Do I have a second? Councillor Apolonio, any discussion? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. 9.2, we have report number 24-076 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2023 Statement of Financial Information. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move that report number 24-076 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2023 Statement of Financial Information be received. Further, that the 2023 Statement of Financial Information be approved as presented.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Do I have a second? Councillor Parslow. Discussion, Councillor Parslow?
Yeah. The $75,000 catch for reporting has been there for decades. I don't want to interfere with this motion, but I would like us to, at a future meeting, may have a motion or some discussion around trying to get the ministry to update that so that the threshold doesn't catch nearly every employee in the city. It seems to be a straightforward housekeeping thing, but they seem to decline to even pay attention to it, which just seems ridiculous.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Melissa, did you want to add?
So, through your worship to Councillor Parslow, that is a request I would like to see granted for sure. Just for your information, when I was down at my conference recently, this is something that comes up often, and they continue to request to the Ministry of Finance, as well in my previous role, my previous employer. So just to let you know that it is advocated for often to the Ministry of Finance, and we've seen no movement despite those requests.
Thank you. Councillor Earl. Are we done, Councillor Parslow?
Absolutely.
Okay. Councillor Earl.
I just wanted to extend a thank you to staff and to our auditors for the work that goes into preparing this document. I know the SOFI report is always an item of great interest among the public, and while some of the comments are sometimes a little curt, being transparent to the public is something we do all take a great deal of pride in. So, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? Well, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. And it's carried. Next, 9.3, we have report number 24-075 from the corporate officer regarding the 2023 annual report. Like all 3 of these previous reports, this was well done. Read through it and to the whole. city team involved in this one. I mean, it's a well done report, like lots of great information in there, and yeah, so thank you. Councillor MacDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the report number 24-075 from the corporate officer regarding 2023 annual report be received. Further, that the Dawson Creek annual report for 2023 be approved as presented.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Second, Councillor Parslow. Any discussion? Councillor Parslow?
Yeah, I appreciate the work that's gone into this, and I do like it. Can I respectfully suggest that for next year, staff look at the publication of the Fort St. John Chamber of Commerce? I have a copy of it I should bring in. I really appreciated the section there in that report on Indigenous relations, and it was very informative and very well presented. And I just think we could perhaps have a more robust section on Indigenous relationships. No criticism at all. This is great work, but I just telling you I was totally captivated by the publication that I'm sure it's saying that is led by the Chamber of Commerce in Fort St. John. And the Indigenous relations thing might be another way of making our very good report better. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.4, we have report number 24-079 from the Development Service Manager regarding animal control RFI update and next steps. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move the report number 24-079 from the Development Service Manager regarding animal control RFI update and next steps be received. Further, that council directs staff to enter into a contract with the BC-SPCA from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2027 with the following budget amounts for each year. 2025, $275,449. 2026, $310,120. 2027, $344,791. Further, that council directs staff to implement and administer animal licensing software and budget for this operational cost in the 2025 budget cycle.
Thanks, Councillor MacDonald. Do I have a second? Councillor Earl. Discussion?
This has been a very frustrating, hard issue for us all to accept. I super appreciate all the effort our city staff has put into this, trying to find another way that didn't seem like we were being held with a gun to our head to continue this service in our community. Animal control is an important service in our community, and I wish there was another way, but it seems like we've turned every stone over now and did our damn best to try and find another way, and this seems like the only way forward, honestly, now.
Thanks, Councillor MacDonald. Councillor Parslow.
The dollar amount increase is by the end of 2027 is what, 100 and something?
So through your worship, from the current budget up to the end of the 2027, approximately just shy of $90,000.
So $90,000.
Yeah.
So this will have to be paid for by the taxpayers of Dawson Creek. I think this warrants some future discussion when we come to budget, right? But given the steps that the staff has taken, which I totally embrace and support, concerning the possibility of increased costs to the taxpayers of a splash park and expressing that as a percentage increase, I would like items such as this to be also included, because the dollars have to come from the taxpayer or from cuts. And, there's not too much that I can see from the way of cutting. There's a couple of favourite topics, but apart from that, I don't see anything. So I just would like this to be flagged as a possibility in the tax notice. But council as a whole need to give direction over that practice. You know what I mean? So that's I have to concur with my esteemed colleague, Councillor MacDonald. Really do not like this whole thing. But ultimately, it's the taxpayer has to pay for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So through your worship, just Melissa had actually done some calculations this morning on what the financial impact on the increase would be just like we do for, through a budget process on an average home in Dawson Creek. And so that works out to be, for the increase, would be $8.32 per year to the average home in Dawson Creek for this. So I think that helps put some context onto it for, obviously, the average assessed house is 284 for 2023, more expensive home, you're going to pay more, but it at least gives some perspective on what those costs are. And I think you're absolutely right. As we look at items that are an increase or a proposed increase, if we can attach dollar figures to that, that really starts to, goes back to that transparency piece for the public to really understand what it means.
Yeah.
Just to take that $8 more a little bit further, what's the total number subsidy per house for all of SPCA? Not just the increase.
So through your worship, I had done those calculations through my public consultation and looking at data related to when I was developing that presentation. So when I did that, I took the total cost of each budget segment and divided it to figure out how much of it works into be the monthly bill. And so it was 97 cents a month, which works out to be $11.68 per year. But that calculation is not just solely related to property tax income coming in, because some of our services are covered by fees for service, interest income, etc. So that figure is if we take our total revenue budget, not just property tax income, if that makes sense.
So it could be more. Good. Okay. Thank you. Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I'd echo the sentiment from Councillor MacDonald. Thank you to staff for the work you've done on this. I know I was on a couple of motions, the lone voice on this one, and I guess one thing the read I got from it was it's not so much a reflection of the extent to which council prioritizes animal control or anyone's service, so much as a recognition that, yes, $8 a year, when you break it down like that, doesn't seem like a lot. Maybe like peanuts to some, but when you've got a mountain of peanuts to manage, it starts to add up. And I think this particular thing, given the dramatic raise in the price of this service, served as a bit of a flashpoint to focus that concern among myself and my colleagues, and it's a concern I share. I recently saw a document prepared by the City of Kamloops that they provided to the provincial government that articulated and broke down the various costs that the city had to absorb from provincial government downloading in recent years. And it added up, it didn't take long for it to get into the millions of dollars a year. And certainly, this isn't necessarily a matter of provincial government downloading, but there's always that element is all these fees filter down, and at the end of the day, there's only one pocket they come out of, right? Whether it's coming out of municipal, whether it's coming out of provincial, whether it's coming out of federal, there's only one taxpayer at the end of the day. So it was a good, fulsome discussion that we revisited many times. I hope the residents of the city can take heart, if nothing else, in knowing the diligence that council exercises in trying to get value for dollar, in trying to find a sustainable path forward. And although we maybe didn't get the answer we wanted this time around, it wasn't for lack of effort. So thank you once again to staff.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. I got a few questions. I guess first off, I want to thank the staff for all the time and effort that has been put into this and to get it to this point. I also want to thank the SPCA because I haven't been in support of this, and it's nothing to do with the SPCA. I respect what they do. They work hard. I've been in there. I've had to use their services a few times. They're amazing people. It's just still the value when I'm sitting here looking at our portfolio of expenses, and the SPCA is going to be $350,000, which is the same amount basically that we spend on transit. I have a tough time swallowing that or voting in favor of this. But a couple questions. I guess just when going through these increases, where do you feel in upcoming budgets where this revenue increase is going to be made up from? Like, do you feel it's going to be directly to a tax increase, or is there some room you feel somewhere else in the budget where this would come from?
So through your worship, right now, the only way to fund it is going to be through an increase or for a reduction in a level of service. There isn't a slush fund, for the lack of a better word, just to absorb it. Yes, each year we have surpluses, but that's for unplanned, we have vacancies and we have these that create those surpluses. We have to plan and assume that everything is going to be occupied and full and all those expenses are going to arrive. So that's the challenge, right?
Yeah. Okay. And then we had some discussion last week. There was another municipality that has decided not to renew with no alternative. So have we?
Yeah, we reached out through your worship. We've talked to some and so I talked to some individuals down in that region. Service isn't good. They have some issues, and my understanding is that they're looking to possibly go back to what they did. And that was in a previous report that came. I think one of the, might have been the report prior to this one, spoke to, not by name, but spoke to one of those areas that had gone away from the SPCA performing animal control and that have now revisiting it because of the outcomes were not favorable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a tough one, so I'm, okay. Thank you. Is there any other discussion? No? All right, I'm going to call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried, one opposed. That was myself. Is our 11 o'clock here?
Staff sergeant's here.
Okay. All right, I'm going to clear the agenda and go to item 16, Committee of the Whole report. So 16.1, we have the report from Staff Sergeant Hughes. So I think he's just coming in.
You're up, Mr. Keith. You're up, sir.
Welcome. Oh, I'll turn your mic on. There you go.
We're on? We're green?
Yeah.
Green is
we
good.
are. The floor is yours. Welcome.
Morning, everyone. Thank
Happy
you.
Monday to you.
It's rainy Monday, and I didn't bring anything to dry my glasses off, so
Yeah,
thank goodness they dried by the low humidity of the office here, and I can see things.
So I'll just get right to it. Good morning, everyone, again. Policing report for May of 2024. Our staffing continues to plague us, we'll say. We have 2 members still off-duty sick or injured, long-term off. We continue to work with those members. We meet with them almost every week or 2. So that return to work process is coming along and is going well. We're staying in contact with them and supporting them where they need it. We have 2 frontline constable positions that are vacant. Those staffing actions are in with E-Division staffing, so we're working on replacing them. Constable Grundy arrived from Saskatchewan training May 12th. We're very, very happy with him. Dawson Creek's a good fit for him, and that's what we're trying to do with our recruits. We're trying to get them to places where they actually want to be so that they feel a sense of home where they are. And this member has a brother who also is a member in a northern detachment, so he's doing well and a good fit. So we have another 3 members scheduled to transfer out still. 1 was released to a priority North District major crime unit. So as much as we don't want to release our members, it's time for the member to go. It's a divisional priority, and that release also will support Dawson Creek in the fact that they're going to North District major crime unit. So part of the reason why major crime needs bodies so bad is because of Dawson Creek. So it will in turn still continue to support Dawson Creek. So I see that there's some smiles and some of those. So the sentiments are shared. So the other issue is our GIS corporal is departing. He has given now a date about August 19th. So the third week of August, he'll be departing. The inbound corporal coming from Nova Scotia that was scheduled to receive the promotion has that promotion has been canceled. The candidate withdrew. So what we are doing is we're moving one of our frontline corporals into that general investigation section spot. So it's Corporal Casey Charles. It's public in the detachment, so public is fine too. Very, very well suited member for the role. Very well deserving. He has completely stepped up in the last few months, especially way over and above and beyond, and well deserving and qualified for the position. So I'm very happy to announce that. So some good leadership up there in GIS, and I just continue to work with staffing on. Getting a weird echo. Sorry. Continue to work with staffing on a daily basis to fill our vacancies. So our crime trends, again, they're numbers. Total of 3,308 calls for service, and that's down from 3,497 calls for service for the same period over last year, 2023, a decrease of 189 files, equating to about 5.5%, 5.4%. So the split between rural and city remains to be about the same. The actual crime stat numbers. So all of the numbers except for 4 are in the green, which I'd like them all to be in the green, but all but 4 in the green makes me quite proud of our boys and girls over there doing what they're doing. 2 of those are we'll consider them non-criminal, like the motor vehicle collisions are typically non-criminal in nature, and if they are, they're categorized somewhere else, like the impaired driving, which is either criminal or motor vehicle act. So those files are captured above in that stat, which is down, and mental health. Those mental health component files are typically non-criminal. So only 2 of the crime stats that we report on, or that we try and get them all into those numbers, so it's reasonable and understandable for people to read. We're up to. So our auto thefts are down from the rising trend they were on. They're still up 37.5%, which is not where we want it. But as noted here in the report, January was 500%, February was 200, April was 120. So we're getting back down to where we should be. We're five months into the year for this report, so average of 11 a month, or 1 every 3 days. January was considerably higher, so our daily average is, of course, down from that. So we are looking for our general public to keep their vehicles locked, to keep their keys secure, not leave their vehicles running outside of Tim Hortons or at a gas station, I know that sometimes it's inconvenient, or you jump out of your truck at the gas station and you think, I'm just going to use the pay at the pump, and then it doesn't work, but your keys are hanging in the ignition. And an opportunistic person may walk by where your car with the door, or your truck with the door open, is going ding, ding, ding. They know that the keys are in it, and they jump in and drive away. So that and some other contributing factors. But it is trending in the right direction. So our theft from vehicles is down. We only had 2 theft from vehicle files in May. So again, these stats, the red and the green, the decrease is year to date over the same period year to date for last year. So 13 from 29 is, we like to see that. Breaking into residence is down. It's down 2 files. It's not a huge win, but I'll take it. Breaking into business is down from 44 to 25. So that's another huge win. Again, only 2 breaking and enter businesses reported in May. Our assaults, assault with a weapon, aggravated assault, in all our files with an assault component to them, again, are down 16%. All of our files, and these files are a compilation of all files with a sexual nature or sexual component to them, down 17% from 23 to 19. We did have, in the last couple of months, we have had a few, I think 3 or 4 child pornography investigations that fall into this category. And we get those files, and if there's any IP address linked to Dawson Creek at all, they come into our scoring. So whether or not they occurred here or not, until they're kind of sorted out where they are. And a few of them have occurred in Dawson Creek, so we are holding those investigations. But that does include, I don't know if I've spoken about that before, but that doesn't include child pornography files. Drug possession, drug trafficking files are down from 8 to 4. Again, until we get the public retrained in calling us. We've spent a year and a half of telling the public that drug use in public is due to decriminalization allowed, for lack of a better term. So we're trying to retrain the general public on calling when you're seeing somebody using drugs in a park or on the sidewalk or really anywhere. If you see it happening, to give us a call, and we will be interacting with that person. Impaired drivings are down 50%. We like to see that. Again, the general public, if you are seeing any weird driving behavior, abnormal driving behavior, we are requesting please call us. I did speak at the PRD regional meeting last month, and one of the directors brought up the point. There's still a general public perception of, I'm not going to call the police because police aren't going to do anything anyways. We need the public to call us. Whether or not we're doing something about it right then and there, depending on what priorities we have at the time, it may give the perception that we're not doing anything about it, but I can assure the public that we are investigating them, we are looking into them. We do have to, however, have to prioritize what's going on at the time with the available resources that we have. But we need those reports to come in so that we can capture the number of occurrences relevant to each type of offense type. So. Motor vehicle collisions, 123 to 130. It's an increase of 5% or 7 files over 5 months, so about a file per month. Our theft and shoplifting is up from 124 to 138. It's an increase of 11% halfway through the year. Again, we'd like to see that down to 0, but we don't live in that world. With the drug epidemic that we're going, that has to be funded somehow. And unfortunately, the people that are immersed in that world sometimes have to feel they have no avenue other than resorting to theft and crime. So it's kind of in that circle of drugs equals crime. It's we're working on it, and we'll continue to do so. Our mental health files from 209 to 236. Again, this is an increase of 13%, and this is we expect this to keep increasing. We don't until there's sufficient mental health facilities, places for treatment, health personnel. Everyone in the north is struggling, whether it be the college, local industry, police, the health industry, EHS, fire departments. Everywhere is struggling. So until we get enough resources in place with all those entities, these numbers are just going to keep continuing to rise. unspecified assistance files are actually down 6.5%, which is not really what we want to see. I've spoken over and over and over again, and I will continue to speak about unspecified assistance files and how those are typically the files that aren't police criminal in nature, or there's no offense to them, but it's the suspicious person, the person walking down a back alley taking pictures, or the person with a flashlight that appears to be scoping a yard. Well, it's not an offense to walk down an alley with a flashlight and look in someone's yard. Those are the files that bring the police officers, that bring the police cars, they bring the response, and they change the behavior in a neighborhood for a given amount of time. So we continue to advocate for the public to call, regardless, whatever it is. If you think that you need us, please call us. And that is reflected in those unspecified assistance files. Our Dawson Creek Citizens on Patrol continue to do amazing work. We got totals, the totals, and this is our Dawson Creek Citizens on Patrol. This isn't even our Rural Crime Watch stats. 2,296 kilometers patrolled by Rural Crime Watch members, totaling 228.75 hours of volunteer hours so far this year. Now, that's not just patrol hours that there was a police week, COPS and Rural Crime Watch, they brought their tent over the detachment and they held a little recruiting. We spoke about that last month. So it includes those things as well. It's not just patrols, but almost 2,300 kilometers of volunteered patrols just for the betterment of your community is amazing work. So a big, huge shout out to those people that are participating, and thank you for that. Our violence suppression efforts continue as they always have been. The resources are there across the province if we need them. One of the benefits of being a Royal Canadian Mounted Police and over a potentially a city police force is we have resources available to us across the province, across the nation if we need them. And we proved last year and earlier on this year that those resources are there for us when we need them, and they do make a difference. They make a big difference, and they make it fast. So thank you to those units. We continue on with our violence suppression efforts. Our overtime members, and that effort is 2 members in uniform in one police car, so they are always together for their safety and the public safety, and they are targeting our known people that have ankle monitors, making sure that they're where they should be, making sure those ankle monitors are charged. That seems to be becoming an increased problem with ankle monitors, as somehow the battery runs out and then nobody knows where these people are. So we are continue to check them for that. People with curfews, people with conditions, doing door knocks all hours of the day, at night, or early morning to ensure that there's no pattern. If you think that we're coming at 3 o'clock, we're not. We're coming at a different time. So you need to be where you're supposed to be. And the Peace Region Crime Reduction Unit, again, I don't have much to report on that. That's at the upper E Division or British Columbia RCMP and government level. So if I get any significant updates on that, I will be sure to let council know. But other than that, I think that's what I'll have. I think I did ask last time that there's maybe some more questions from this side of the room, so hopefully hopefully they're prepared. Okay.
Thank you, for coming in and sharing the report. Thank you to your mic's off. Guess that helps, eh?
There you go. I could hear you.
So just for those that didn't hear me, just thank you for the report, and thank you to yourself and your team for what you guys do every day. But I also want to thank you personally just for how much you're out in the community, kind of bridging that communication gap. And I've had the privilege of attending a few meetings with you. We just recently had the Citizens Take Action. Myself and Staff Sergeant Hughes were at, but I know you also come to the Peace River Regional District, and I know all the directors there appreciate it, but also the cops and the seniors roundtable that me and you did, or the seniors open house, and the Rural Crime Watch, cops, all of it. I just think it's such a huge thing that you're taking that willingness to get out in the community. So just thank you for that. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, when I came here, I said I wanted, my goal was to make Dawson Creek a better place to live. So we're working on that. I think we're with the assistance of council and our other partners. I think we're getting there. So
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're doing a great job at showing. So thank you.
appreciate your support. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Councillor Parslow?
So I need a bit of, you used the expression retraining.
I did?
Yes, you used, in your presentation, you used the word retraining.
Oh, yes, I did.
The community about calling. And that resonated with me because I think I need to smarten up a little bit and do a little bit more phoning. So which phone number do I use if I want to call, bring something to the attention of the local detachment?
So the easy answer is if you believe something is an emergency, then 911.
Yeah, okay.
So
fair enough, yeah.
So there's two aspects to it. So 911 emergency, if somebody's using drugs and that you think that they're in medical distress from that, then the priority is going to be, that's an emergency. So 911. If you're calling something just to report an event that's occurring that isn't an emergency, just call the general.
What's that number?
3784-3700.
Say that again?
250 for the area code.
Yeah.
For those of us that have cell phones that are 25 years old. Guilty as charged. 784-3700.
3770.
3700.
3700.
3700. Yeah.
Okay.
And that gets you to our direct line. And one thing that I would ask is everybody has heard our options have changed, so please listen to the entire message. So please do so. The options have changed. We went to a voice over internet protocol telephone system maybe 3-4 months ago. So we had to redo all of our voice messaging and everything else. And we still, so a public message, we still get Monday morning, anywhere from, 0 is a good day, but up 5, 6, 7 files where there's something that's happening, and impaired driving seems to be a big one, where the people don't listen and they just start hitting buttons. And then we'll get a call that I'm driving down 97 Highway North towards Fort St. John. I'm 5 minutes out of town. I'm following this vehicle, and he's weaving all over the road, and he just pitched a beer can out the driveway, driver's door window from Friday night after the office closed. So there is an option to get through to dispatch on that line.
Okay.
So
I need to listen for that, right? Because
I don't want to say you need to listen, because that comes across very fatherish, so I don't want to say that. But please do listen to the options, because the options have changed.
Yeah, no, I listen well, generally. Not to Darcy, perhaps, but... No, so the reason is that with the weather we have, right, I'm just amazed how many people are using side-by-sides, tearing along the streets, not of Dawson Creek. I'm a rural resident. Okay?
Yeah.
I counted 7 in one, going at high speed, kids. And then you've got all these, what do they call these motorbikes? They're not motorbikes, but they're sort of...
like an e-bike?
You help me. What do they call these things? Kids, a lot of young kids have them. No, they're not electric. They're motorized, but they're
like a gas-powered scooter?
Gas-powered? No. No, not a quad. They're motorbikes. They're 2 wheels, but they are used by kids. Usually, young kids have them, and they're terracing around the countryside and doing.
Damn those kids! Get off your lawn. Eh?
No, what do they call those bikes?
Like the mini bikes?
Dirt bikes. Dirt bikes.
So that's still a motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then there's
Dirt
a whole
bikes.
host of that stuff, right?
There is.
And then I felt badly the last council meeting that that Sunday incident, some shooting going on, that I saw that, and I was really flummoxed. How do I get hold of the RCMP, right? And
Well, I would
so
suggest-
I'm putting this number in my cell phone because it really worries me about these kids. I don't know them personally. I don't know where they're from, but they're in my neck of the woods, and it's very, very dangerous. So I plan on phoning those in.
Please do.
Yeah.
Just for clarification, people shooting at each other on 8th Avenue is a 911 call.
Yeah.
It
How
is.
stupid is. So you see, I need retraining.
See? So there you go.
When you just mentioned 911, I thought, Oh, yeah, there's 911.
There is, yeah.
So you see, if I need retraining, what does some other people need, right? Yeah.
None of us are above retraining at any point in our life. As soon as we figure we have it figured out, they change it. So
You can only speak for yourself, Councillor.
I know.
so I'm glad that I had a word that triggered and
Training. Well, the
and,
question, if I was, because so tell me what training is happening.
the retraining. Just public messaging is as far as retraining and the public messaging. Hopefully, there's more than council has access to my words here. There has been media releases about the revisions to decriminalization. I won't say retraction of it, but the revisions to the decriminalization parameters. So hopefully people are reading that. Hopefully people are tuning into stuff like this and reading. We rely on our media outlets to do recaps of the things that I say here. So I know that those, at least a couple of those media outlets recap what I say and put it out in their articles. So hopefully the retraining triggers some of the members of our public and we start getting those calls again. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor MacDonald?
Thank you, Worship. Thanks again for everything you do, as always. We have two members off duty sick, 2 positions vacant, 3 transferring out. Corporal Jones getting a much-deserved promotion. How's the morale in the detachment right now? Are we burning our guys out? Is there anything we can do as city and council to help morale?
No, I think Corporal Jones is not, there's no promotion for Corporal Jones that I'm aware of.
Didn't you say he was moving up?
Casey Charles.
Casey
But
Charles.
it's not a
I'm
promotion.
sorry.
He's just, so that's just corporal.
Okay.
Not just. Sorry, that's
Okay.
not the right way to say that.
Sorry, my misunderstanding.
It's a lateral transfer,
Okay.
corporal.
Okay.
No, that's okay. Just wanted to clarify. The morale of the detachment is, I believe, still very good. We have ups and downs depending on what's going on at current and levels of intensity and violence that affect. We're humans. So as far as staffing is concerned, we have started a new, not initiative, but it's something that I spoke with the mayor and the CAO about, and increasing we try not to have minimum staffing level anymore. At least for the summer here, we're gonna try this, and it seems to have had an immediate effect on morale. Just having more members available to distribute the workload is working. We just need to have some more members coming in, and like I said here at the last 2 or 3 months in a row, staffing has indicated that we have more people coming to E Division than we have going out of E Division for the first time in 5, 6, 7 years. While that's fantastic, it's still hard to attract people to the north. So we've been very lucky with the ones that have come here that are happy to be here recently. So again, I work with staffing. I talk to staffing. I think I have 8 or 9 emails in my email box back and forth with staffing just this morning before I came here. So it's regular conversation, it's regular communication, and it's all levels, right from the detachment all the way up to E Division. They know where we're at. They know what we need. We need to attract more people to policing. One of the things that came out. The mayor was present, and myself and Sergeant Petal, the operations NCO at the detachment, we went to sat in on Treaty 8 conference in Fort St. John, and you were there as well. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that really rang true and kind of hit a good nerve with me was Miss Dallin from the Northern Lights College had spoke up and spoke about the negativity in the health industry and how it lies upon us as leaders in the community to squash that negativity at any point that we can when we hear it going on. And I know, Councillor MacDonald, you're a very big supporter of the RCIP and our members, and I very much thank you for that. And I do know of specific events, specific examples where you've stood up for us, and I give that to our members, and it's very much appreciated. But where I'm going is Ms. Dallin had said, as leaders, let's please do everything that we can to quash that negativity, because our young people that we are putting through our educational system and trying to attract to these jobs, if there's constant negativity about a certain profession, who wants to be part of that profession? And I was sitting at the table and thinking, that is exactly the same truth for policing. So, again, your support that is just constant since the day I've been here from yourself and the mayor and CAO and other councillors has been amazing. So I'm not speaking from a plea to please do that. I'm speaking from a point for thank you for doing what you're doing. That happens here in Dawson Creek. So just keep doing what you're doing. Please is I guess my only request. You guys are doing amazing, and it's a fantastic mayor and council here to work with. So keep it up.
Excellent. Thank you. And I agree. We definitely need to do a better job of changing the narrative, whether it's about our community on the whole, health care, doctors, whatever.
Yep.
Right? Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor MacDonald. Well, thank you, Staff Sergeant. One other thing, just wanted to thank your members. I see often there's schools and youth next door, and your officers or team members are giving them tours, but I was privileged to go on one actually a couple of weeks ago. So the classroom did up a little thank you card to the RCMP, so I got a
Wonderful
little gift for you to pass on to the officer that helped. So thank you, and yeah, it was very professional, and I've been on a few of them, but they're amazing. So thank you for that. I mean, just really how you I know you guys are busy, but how you continue to take the time for community and getting youth in there and understanding it and having some fun with them. It's just, it's great to see.
Our kids are our future, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Have a great day. I'll pass the card on to you. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Put that on the wall.
There's a picture of which. In the inside. Yeah, you got a picture. He's newer member.
Yeah, so that's Constable Thaddeus Bond. He's our second newest member.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, he did a great job and was awesome to, yeah, it's just nice to get to know him and conversate with him, and he had some fun with the kids, so it was good.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I force one question out of the side of the room before I go? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, get him.
Anything?
Yeah.
Maybe next month. Maybe next month.
Yeah.
They're well trained not to say anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. If that's it, I will let you continue on with your day.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming over and enjoy your day.
Thanks, everyone.
You bet. All right, next order of business is 10 bylaws. 10.1, we have Councillor Procedure Amendment Bylaw number 4584, 2024 for consideration of adoption. Councillor, anybody? Councillor Sudnick, second. Councillor Kemp, discussion. I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Next, 10.2, we have Water Conservation Measure Amendment Bylaw number 4585, 2024 for consideration of adoption. Councillor Sudnick, Councillor Kemp, any discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 10.3, we have report number 24-077 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding Municipal Ticket Information System Amendment Bylaw number 4586, 2024 for consideration of first three readings. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 24-077 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding Municipal Ticket Information System Amendment Bylaw number 4586/2024 be received. Further, that Municipal Ticket Information System Amendment Bylaw number 4586/2024 be given first three readings.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Do I have a second? Councillor Apolonio, any discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. One more. Has everybody voted? Councillor, oh, it doesn't say? Councillor Parslow has, he has voted.
No. Way ahead of you.
Is it good now? I'm not going to comment because it might have been me that didn't vote. So. Oh, boy.
Gift you just gave Charlie.
Yeah.
Training.
Yeah. It's not working. I spoke too soon. Next order of business, 10.4, report number 24-078 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding bylaw notice enforcement amendment bylaw number 4587, 2024 for consideration of first three readings. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the report number 24-078 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding bylaw notice enforcement amendment bylaw number 4587, 2024 be received. Further, the bylaw notice enforcement amendment bylaw number 4587, 2024 be given first three readings.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Second, Councillor Apolonio. Any discussion? I'll call that motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. All right, next order of business, 11, Mayor's Business, 11.1, Mayor's Updates. So graduation, I just wanted to send, it's the time of the year. We had most of the schools graduating on the weekend and last week. So I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all those graduating classes and students. Got to spend a lot of time with a lot of the grade 12s at multiple schools last year. So it was amazing to build those relationships, and I really look forward to seeing where they're going in life, but also to the upcoming youth as well. I also had the privilege of attending Mountain Christian School's graduation ceremonies on Friday, and I got to spend an hour there and spoke a little bit. I got to hear all their graduating students speak. And their principal, it was really, it was honoring. It was a true honor to be there and just hear their voices and congratulate them and share a little bit. But it was, one of those moments when I was done, I was extremely grateful to be the mayor of this community and to stand up there and and just be part of it. So it was amazing. I'm grateful for all the grads, and so thank you and congratulations. Second, I had a hotel market study. I've done this a couple years actually. There's a company in Canada that does a hotel study, and it's kind of an independent study, but they called me last year and this year just for information. But it's really interesting. So there was just a couple things I wanted to share. One, they gave me the vacancy rates 2019, so pre-COVID. We were at a 58% rate in Dawson Creek. 2023, we were at a 71% rate. So it's amazing to see it bounce back. They say the bigger spike in 2023 was just the amount of the emergencies in the ESS that needed to use the facilities, but still great to see. And then 2024, we're on a 69% rate for the year to date. So all great for the community and region to see that kind of growth. And there was a lot of exciting things that they talked about. So it was just nice to see that number. I figured I would just share that number because it was interesting to see that we've rebounded from pre-COVID numbers and are higher. We're actually above provincial average too. So, but provincial average is very tough, she said, to weigh because of like the greater Vancouver area where there's a big tourism draw and hotels draws. So it skews the numbers a little bit, but so our numbers are really good. So for the region, so it's nice to see and that it's growing and maintaining. So next, the city team, I just wanted to, I know we talk often about the team at the city and the things they do, but last while I've got more comments from our community just about the great things. So I just, it's nice to hear those. And I know it's so easy in these positions and the city team's positions to hear about the negative. But I just wanted to embrace again, like all the good work that's going on. And there's a ton going on around the community right now that it's just, there's a lot getting done. It's almost like every corner there's something happening. So, the residents are noticing that and they're letting me know, which it's nice to hear, but I think it's nicer that we pass that on to the team at the city because we don't always get to hear those things. So just a real thank you. And then you look at like the reports we get, like these, I know there's only 4 on this one, but they're like thorough, well done reports. They talk about values, our strategic plans, like it's appreciated how much effort goes in. But yeah, it's just, it's nice to hear the positive stuff from the community, and I get to see it every day when I'm in here, and I communicate with the team and Kevin a lot, so I get to see the leadership styles and the changes. But I just if you can just pass on to everybody, like it's noticed, and it's so amazing. And all these, like, I was at that seniors event and I hear comments about the city team, like I mentioned before, but it's just great to see the positive and embrace the positive.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I definitely do that, and it's much appreciated, and I know staff appreciate it, and we will pass that along.
Okay, thank you. School tours, I've had a couple. Well, they're on the list, but we had Canalta Elementary grade 3 and 4 class here that we did a tour of the RCIP, the fire department, and then City Hall. Got to spend a couple hours with them, so it was amazing. To see, it's just, yeah, if I could do those every day with the youth, I would. It's definitely one of the highlights, and yeah, it was amazing and fun, and just a thank you to that class and the teachers, and I think they had 8 parents that volunteered to help with that as well, so it was nice to have that many people. Leaders table, so we had our leaders table meeting, I think that was last week, or maybe possibly the week before. Councillor MacDonald joined me for this. We had Shiro, who the CEO of Northern Health was in attendance, I felt like a really great presentation on the direction of Northern Health. And Northern Health is one that, there's always a lot of negative things, but there's a lot of good things too. I mean, I've been through tours of our hospital, all the health units, all the Northern Health units in Dawson Creek. We have some of the most amazing team members and staff there, like that really care, they work hard. So I think, like Staff Sergeant Hughes says, it's, we need to look at the negative and learn from that, but we got to embrace the positive. Like, there's so many good things too. So I wanted to give a shout out for Chiro for taking the time for that. I was in 2 actually back-to-back meetings, the leaders table, and the next day where he spoke at 2. And I just really enjoyed his message, and he listened. I really felt like he's listening to the region and the community, so that was great. Todd was also there from Northern Lights College, and then RCMP had a few individuals up on the BC Hate Crime Division, gave presentations, so it was an amazing day. It was well attended. There was probably 30 to 40 people in there, so some of the municipalities have brought in another person just so that there can always be somebody, and First Nations as well, so that's why Councillor MacDonald attended as well. So yeah, it was just a great day up there. So next, seniors roundtable. Yeah, I had a seniors roundtable last week. It was actually the roundtables where I kind of started through a few seniors that have reached out to me, and I've always been big on seniors. I mean, they've lived a life and have laid a lot of things down that we live in today and we get the privilege of being part of. So I love listening to seniors. But this roundtable, it's been a year and I didn't realize that. So we're really grateful that we've continued to do it. But it's gained momentum. It's a good group that comes all the time. We've invited new. Just really amazing. So I'm grateful for all of them that come in, and I know they're grateful for myself and Melissa, who also attends them. But it's really about them and listening why they're done. So it was another neat thing that came out of it. They had some questions about Northern Health, about the new hospital. So I just reached out to Kendra, who looks after that, and she's going to attend the next roundtable and bring the drawings and sit in there and show them and answer questions. So just another avenue where we can get to hear their concerns, but we get to really answer them and bridge that communication. So yes, that was good. Next, the wheelchair tours. So I wanted to give a shout out to David Johnson for writing a letter to us asking and really for advocating for accessibility in our community. But it was amazing. There was probably 20 of us there that attended. There was a few that rode wheelchairs from Kin Arena to the art gallery and back. So Councillor MacDonald was there as well. It was just great. It was, my arms were a little sore at the end of it, but it was great just to see those individuals that live that life and, have to get away around that way, like some of the difficulties. I wasn't surprised by any of it because Devin sitting across there has been very educational on the city and the accessibility and moving forward. And a lot of the concerns that I seen when I was doing it, I already was aware from, the stuff that you've talked to us about, and with new procedures and bylaws and policies and the way we're fixing some of these things moving forward. So just a thank you to yourself for doing that work, but also just to educate us as well. So it's important. So. A Citizens Take Action meeting. So I was invited to attend one a couple Wednesdays ago with Staff Sergeant Hughes. So it was a great meeting, very respectful. It was good. The Staff Sergeant was there, and this group has worked very well with the Staff Sergeant in helping and working together to help make the city a better place. So I just wanted to get that out there. I know when this group maybe started, there was a different opinion out there, but the Staff Sergeant is working very closely with them, and they know what they can and can't do, and they're working well with Staff Sergeant Hughes. So I was there for a couple hours with Staff Sergeant, answered a lot of questions, and I enjoy those too because I get a lot of questions that I don't have the answers to, so I get that education piece that I get to come back and find them. So I wanted to give a shout out to them as well. So next marketing campaign interview. So just the marketing campaign that Melissa and the city's doing, the communications department. We had an interview, it was a couple hours, I think. Councillor MacDonald and myself were there. It was it was just interviewing us just on what we thought the community is about the whole marketing campaign, and really looking forward to the progress of it and the engagement. They're getting engagement from a lot of different community members and individuals and the region as a whole. So really looking forward to that. Next, the Northern Health Invitation. So we had our first recruitment and retention committee for doctors committee last week or 2 weeks ago. So I want to give a shout out to Councillor Sudnick. He's been a big advocate for healthcare and a big part of the reason why this is created. But it was the first committee meeting, so I sat in on it just because Councillor Sudnick was unavailable. But it was amazing. There was probably about 12 people, a few leaders in the region community, but most importantly, there was doctors on there. I think there was 5 or 6 doctors on there sharing about their ideas around recruiting and retention of doctors. So it was an amazing call. We have another one coming up this week just to kind of get the groundwork of it and how it will work. It'll be quarterly meetings eventually, but we all on the table realize the importance that we that we get to that part sooner than later. So we're going to meet every couple of weeks until we get that kind of groundwork and get a plan moving forward. Next, I had a meeting with Bob Zimmer last week. So this was just about a few things. So one, I had a foreign resident that came to me about a couple weeks ago, just about having some troubles with their applications through the federal government for immigration and citizenship. So I brought that up with him, and I didn't know this, and maybe I did, but I didn't remember. But his office, it's one of the main things his office does is to work with immigration. So those residents out there that are having any issues or they're sending in forms, he encouraged them to go to his office. Their team is trained well on it, and they can look at applications. They can also They have direct access to immigration, so they can find out a little bit. They can look in. They can't always help, but that's one of the services they offer. So I just wanted to put that out there. I also talked to him about grants. We had a grant for our sewer trunk that was, unfortunately, we didn't get is that public knowledge? Yeah. Okay. We didn't get approval on a grant. So I just had a conversation with him about that. So I got some information around that. This is just on any federal grants that it's really important that we reach out to him and that get letters of support from himself. He also mentioned that it is an election year coming up, so there's usually some more grants that come out, so just to be ready again for those. And then I also did get a letter from him a little while ago just on the drones and some of the conversations we had around that, so I was just responding to that as well and let him just know what the delegation was about. And so, yeah, that was good. Next, Crescent Park door decorating contest. This was last week as well. It was just an amazing thing, and it was so cool. The principal and actually one of the teachers came up with this idea of decorating their doors in the school. So each classroom decorated them, and then invited us up there to judge it. So Councillor MacDonald was available and myself went up there. I don't want to keep thinking those that are listening that I'm using Councillor MacDonald for everything, but all these requests are put out to everybody. He's just got a bit of a flexible schedule. So, but yeah, thank you for attending and thank you. It was amazing. We had 3 young, amazing girls, students up there. 2 in grade 6, and 1 in grade 4 that, or may have been grade 7, grade 2 and grade 7 and grade 4, that toured Councillor MacDonald and myself around, and we seen all the doors, and it was absolutely amazing, the work and effort that went into all of them. We got to visit with a couple classrooms. Natalie, who works here, her daughter was up there, so we got to go in there and visit daughter, so it was amazing. So yeah, it was just, it was great, and just a huge shout out to Crescent Park for putting that in, but also for allowing us to participate in it. It was really honoring. So also as well, I attended Central last week. So this is another amazing thing, but we had 2 classrooms there from grade 8 that submitted letters to community leaders, provincial leaders, business leaders. But it was one day last week I got back and there was about 8 letters on my desk from Central students, and I started opening them up and I was like, wow, it was amazing to see that they're taking the time out of their day to reach out with real questions and concerns to us. So it was just amazing. So we reached back out to them, and I ended up being able to go down there. So I met with both classrooms and spent an hour with them going through the letters, and went through a lot of what the city does, but I talked for maybe 20 minutes or so, and then they asked me questions for like 40 minutes. So it was absolutely amazing to hear. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the teachers there, but also those students for taking the time to write those letters and showing that and expressing their voice, and that it was heard. So just a shout out to them. So it was amazing. Next, MLA Bernier had an event last week, and I went there to meet himself. He had 3 MLAs from Delta, Kelowna, and Kamloops in, so it was just great to meet with them and hear what they're working on. One was the shadow minister for agriculture, so that was great just to have a conversation with him on just the concerns, but really about voicing how agriculture is so diverse and different between the province, whether from northern British Columbia to southern. So it was great. So I just wanted to give a shout out to MLA Bernier for inviting me, but also to those other 3 MLAs that came up to meet. So, all right. Any questions on any of those? I feel like I just talked for like an hour.
I have one.
Okay. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Worship. It's not a question at all, but I just wanted to join my voice with yours in thanking Councillor Sudnick for his tireless efforts in and around healthcare in Dawson Creek. Mike, you've done a great job, even before you were on council. So thank you for your continued efforts. You're making a true difference in this community. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Donald. I agree. Thank you. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's happened in healthcare, so it's neat to be part of and see. So, thank you. All right. Next, 11.2, the delegation from Northern Lights College. I don't believe there was an ask. That's right.
No, I could remember an ask.
No. Yeah, there was no. No. Okay. And then next one is the Kiwanis Child Care Center. I think if everybody's okay, I think I'm going to defer this. I think there's a lot more discussion that needs to happen around this, and we know that the deadline's August. We also have some, other information on this. So unless there's some questions right now, I'd like to just defer it. But Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I'm all for deferring it, but there's just, I think, so this would be deferred to the July meeting of council?
Well, I think it'll be at a future date. I think the reality to get the application in by August is almost impossible because of all the work that needs to be done. So if there is going to be a fall intake, but I think there's just a lot more to discuss about it. So I don't know if it would be July or what would your... it'll really be what the direction of council is.
Yeah, through your worship, I think you're correct in saying that the August 2nd is not obtainable, that deadline. It's just with the amount of work that needs to go into the grant application to be a well thought out and, an application that might have a chance for success. There's just too much work to do to get it in there. So if there's a fall or even a January intake or whatever that looks like, that probably makes sense. So it gives us some time. I think, there's a few things that probably need to sort out before we're in that position. But yeah, council, can certainly, they heard, it sounded like a good presentation. There's some opportunity there. Council needs to give some thought to that, I guess. And like I said, I don't think the timing is critical because the August 2nd, we're not going to make that one.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
So this request was for a letter was it to submit a grant application?
Yeah, so it was a request to submit, but the city has to be the lead on all of it.
So the grant was to submit an application for funding that would be a capital funding initiative?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, yes.
But that depends also on availability of land, decisions around that, right? And the willingness of council to bear the operating costs from the point of view of maintenance and utilities, or was utilities involved in this? Would they be paying some rent to us to offset this?
All things that need to be sorted out.
Sorted out. Okay, so the mayor did state that for this grant to be accessible, the project must be being built on city-owned land.
That's correct.
Okay, so if that's the case, what is the possibility of acquiring some land transfer from Northern Lights College? That, again, is one of those things that just add to the work, right, that needs to be done. But I would also let's look at, if that's the requirement, I'd like to know if there's any possibility of the city acquiring that land, because I see distinct advantages to Northern Lights College, and I sense the leadership there is all for doing things, right? And it was also a distinct advantage for the healthcare workers. So I'm now, as I'm talking, understanding why we couldn't possibly have an application in by August, right?
Yeah, so through your worship,
I self-taught to myself. There's a lot of work to be done and a lot of unknowns, right?
yeah, I just want to correct myself on that the city has to own the land. That the city needs to own the land if we're making the application. Melissa just pulled up the grant there, and so public bodies, including health authorities, boards of education, public post-secondary institutions, and crown companies. So the college could certainly make an application and do all that, and they could have it on their property. We can't do it on their property.
Unless they give it to us.
Yes.
They have to be the lead, so.
So
All
there-
that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much.
There's lots of moving parts, I think.
Well, I just think we do need to make this happen, one way or the other, and move as expediently as we can.
Yeah.
I'm not challenging the doability by orders by any means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we need a motion to defer? Okay, I'll make the motion to defer to a later date. Councillor MacDonald, second. We'll call that motion to vote. Is that good, or do you need an actual date? Okay. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, I guess we'll have 11.4. We had Delegation Bryce Wiskull from Young Life Dawson Creek in attendance. One to just present and share what Young Life does in the community, but there also was an ask for funding. So, Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Worship. During their delegation, they did speak about taking some of these wonderful youth to city-owned properties like swimming, etc. So I'm wondering if I can make a motion that we donate some swim passes to this group to maybe alleviate some of their funding issues.
Yeah, you could. I guess the one thing is if we do donate swim passes, we still have to pay for them. So
Yeah.
that still comes out of the grant.
Yeah.
So kind of I know what you're meaning, but it's, the same.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a motion you'd like to make, or what
Yes.
would you like to a certain value?
To a $500 value.
Okay. I have a second. Councillor Sednick. Any discussion? Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Worship. And just with respect to a previous conversation we had about when we donate things like swim passes or complimentary passes to other city amenities, how we track whether or not they're being used so it's an accurate reflection in our grant budget, and we're not. Are we doing that yet? Have we figured out a way to do that or to implement it, or is it something that requires direction from council?
So through your worship, we were able to do that specifically for the judo passes. Those were used over a weekend, so limited time span that we needed to track them. And so for your information for that, only 29 of the 100 passes were used. We don't have a system in place that I think would extend beyond passes that probably could be used for a longer period of time.
Okay. That's good to know. I am in favor of Councillor MacDonald's proposition, but I do think it's important as we're drawing these passes against a specific budget item, if it's only 30% utilization rate, $500 is actually considerably less than that. So just for the sake of accuracy and for the sake of our own understanding of what the implications of these kind of gifts are. But thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. All right, any other discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we got I don't have much left. I'm just thinking about coming back in for, there's not much left to deal with. So if we want to just get through this. So one thing is I need to take like a 1-minute break.
So I'm going to take a 1-minute break and then I'm coming right back.
Committee of the Whole for Monday, June 24th, back to order. Our next order of business was 12, Chief Administrative Officer Operational Updates. To you, Kevin.
All right, good morning, or good afternoon, I guess. A couple of quick updates. Tax collection, just wanted to give you a quick update on that. So far, we have collected 51, just shy of 52% of taxes, which is ahead of last year. Last year at this time, we were about 47%. So, and I think we're ahead of the last number of years. So trends are good. We're on track. Don't foresee any issues there. Quick update on water. Nice to see the rain out there again today. The river is holding steady. So that's good. Reservoirs are basically full. We're at 95+%. Usage, we've seen a slight uptick. We were averaging around 5,600 cubic meters a day. We're now about 6,200. So we've probably started to see a little bit of that industrial usage. So, but we're doing all right. So that's good. I wanted to give a quick update on some capital projects. As the mayor mentioned, there's lots going on out in the community, and it certainly can be a bit of a disruption for folks out there, but at the same time, in order for us to get where we need to go and improve some things, there is a bit of a inconvenience. So Park Hill Transmission Water Main, that's a project that you'd see over by the co-op currently. And it was up along past the co-op agro, up that direction. So that project is continuing, and we have a tentative completion in late July. 96th Avenue from 8th to 13th is underway. Crews are in there, starting to work on some underground. Camarlo Phase 3, which is the final phase of that project. It's paved, sidewalks are in, streetlights are in. There's just some cleanup to some driveways to finish and stuff. So hopefully in the next week or so that will be finalized. Probably seen downtown. We've got the corners 10th and 103rd working on some street lights or traffic lights. Sorry. Those are going well, and Devin sent me a picture there late last week of the one that came down, and it's obviously it's good that we're replacing those. The one street light that had come down had significant corrosion in it and was a definite safety risk. Certainly aware of the car show that's happening in the downtown in July 12th weekend. They're going to do their best to either be complete or minimize the impact to that when they're doing that stuff downtown. Kin Park and Rotary Park playgrounds. So Kin Park is up and running. We're waiting on a replacement piece of the slide that was damaged to come. Rotary, there's some landscaping that needs to be finished around the park because it's a bit of a mess. So that's, I know staff's got some pricing as of last week, and so that will be completed, and they're going to re-landscape and put down actually some sod so we can expedite that and get people out there as soon as we can. The Kin Park trail connections that are near the pickleball playgrounds and all that. A lot of it's been completed, but we're still waiting on some of the amenities such as bike racks, benches, tables to be installed. So we're just waiting on, it's much the same as the pickleball courts. We're waiting on product. Our contractors have ordered, but it hasn't arrived yet. So we're waiting on those benches and waste bins and things like that. So we'll follow up again with them, see where they're at. But 109th Avenue between 17th and 15th Street. Again, that's road construction is underway. They've been working on it for a while. So the underground is complete and they're working on the road base, and so things should start to move along. Today will obviously slow things down, but they're moving along. Some new things that are coming yet to start. We have culvert crossing at 8th Street right by the tracks. It needs to be done. That'll be starting early July. We've got 100B road reconstruction there as well. Needs to start. That'll be later on in the summer. And then we have Barbary Park storm outfall. That's probably going to start in the fall. And 112th by Safeway and the mall. They've milled that, and so that'll be getting going here fairly soon. That's what we got for now.
That's it.
So, good work to the. That's it. Yeah. There's more than that. I didn't even touch on the arena. There's some other facility stuff. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Busy. Question on the 103rd. I just have had a few comments. Is what's going back in on the corners for on the ground? Is it concrete or is it going to be bricks again?
No, we're concrete.
Okay. Thank you. And then one question just on the waste bins, just being down at the Kin Park and stuff. And I know the grad was just down there and we had a bunch of waste bins set up for them. Would there be a reason why we couldn't maybe just leave one of those bins until the actual ones come in? Because there is no garbage bins like around that whole facility. So even when I was there was some garbage on the ground, but you can't even pick it up and help out, right? Because there's no place to put it.
Are they just temporary?
They were like the big blue City of Dawson Creek ones. I mean, they're kind of more industrial looking round ones, but if there was one sitting over there, maybe it might.
Yeah, we'll do what we can. If they're open, the only concern I would have is that some either animals or individuals may get into them, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Councillor Parslow?
When will the level 3 charges be operational?
Through your worship, a couple weeks ago, so last council, when you'd asked, I reached out to them and they'd said, we're coming tomorrow. And they had a 2-week schedule. So barring a little bit of paving, but I don't even think there's much there, the weather has not been in their favor while they've been here, but it is a pretty uninvasive project and they should be, from what I can tell, it was end of this month.
I noticed the ones in Tumbler Ridge, which are fantastic, well signed about parking. So will these be equally well signed?
I have asked, there are some painted pavement markings going in front, and I've asked them to put some painted pavement markings in front of the L2 chargers as well.
Okay.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor MacDonald?
Thank you, Worship. Sorry, you just brought up the arena there at the very end. Can you give any updates on that? Are we on schedule, behind schedule, anything like that?
Through your worship, Councillor MacDonald. So last council meeting, Kevin provided an update that there will be some delays. So we have received a revised schedule. It's 2 weeks, 2 weeks delayed. So that takes us to, or 3 weeks delayed. So it takes us to mid-October. Final completion, wrap up, cleaning, etc.
What was it related?
It's just a combination of some of the findings of the work that's been done. So as we did the excavating and cleaning up some of the concrete and some of the reforming, just the legacy of the building being many, many years old of just some cracking and within the concrete, and so to ensuring that those areas are safe and secure for the longevity and taking care of some of those aspects from the building being 50 years old.
Okay. I'd heard rumor about HVAC issues too. Is there any HVAC issues?
No, wait.
Just the normal replacement time we were thinking?
So the HVAC is a separate project, and that is ongoing right now. We're just waiting for some schedules on the structural for the screw piles. So that contractor, now we have to coordinate moving some glass and material and stuff. So we anticipate it's also, while the work is going on, is just coordinating the two contractors to work in the spaces they've got in the back there of the receiving of equipment and materials and loaders and
Et cetera.
et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very active area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, other questions? All right, next order of business. Thanks, Kevin. Next is 13 diary. Oh, tap.
Sorry, through your worship. Back to 11.2, the delegation from Northern Lights College. I looked back on their delegation request, and there is, matter of factly, 2 requests from them. One is for approval for camping. However, that will be covered by the community events permit.
Okay.
The second one is for a liquor license to cover the Lakota Aeroplex. So we would need a motion for that.
Okay, I will bear the agenda and go back to 11.2, so thank you. Councillor Earl?
I will move that we approve the liquor license as requested.
Second, Councillor MacDonald. Discussion. I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Tab. Nothing in the diary. Consent calendar. Anybody want to lift anything? I get a motion to accept the consent calendar. Councillor Kemp, second. Councillor Earl. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Media questions, no media here. Committee of the whole is done. 17, recess to close meeting. Resolution to move, 17.1, resolution to move into the meeting of council, close to the public. Agenda item 2.1, section 91J, information that is prohibited or information that if were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Agenda items 5.1, 5.2, and 6.1, section 91K, negotiations and related discussion respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages, and agenda item 5.3, section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations. Get a motion to Councillor MacDonald, second Councillor Apolonio. Call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Thank you, everyone.